Yes, it's me, JLJ, this evening, live from Kansas City, and my lighting is doing something weird. I don't know what's going on with my lighting. It's doing something totally weird. Yes, it's me, JLJ, this evening, live from Kansas City, and my lighting is doing this is my second episode. Why is my lighting doing that? I have no idea why it's doing that. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm setting things up. I don't know, my lighting is doing something very strange. I don't know why it's doing that. Didn't do it earlier when I was on this morning. That's weird. That's getting annoying. I have no idea why it's doing that. What's the T? Is that the TV? Let's see if I get in the way. Let's turn that off. Okay. I don't think that's it either. I might just try. I might change places of where I'm sitting because this is weird. I do have a laptop, so I guess I can go anywhere. I don't have to sit here. I mean, you can't see me, can you? Something's weird. Let me go. Let me try it this way and see if it does better. That was so weird, right? It's like I don't know what I'm like. I don't know what's going on. Can't see now. Can you see me? Let me know. I was sitting this way earlier and it was fine. Now I see me. Got my drink. That's doing it there too. This is weird. I don't know what's going on. So I have lighting behind me, which is not. That's what I was. That's what I'm doing. The light's in front of me. I'm like, that's what I have a light. See, I did this earlier. Everything was fine. I have a light in front of me, a light over here. I'm like, it shouldn't be doing anything. Let's see what's going on. Let me bring my stuff in here. I'm gonna bring my stuff with me and move another spot and see what does. This is what you do when you're on vacation. Okay, this work. I don't like that. Oh, another spot. I got another spot. This working? This seems to be working, I think. That seems to be working. Much better. Where's my drink? Where's my drink? I'm back. Yeah, now I gotta make that. Luckily, I got several rooms in here. Maybe that over here. My drink over here, so I'll spill it on anything. And that over here. Okay. That was weird, but luckily I have several spots I can sit at. This is a comfortable chair right here. I know, it's so weird. I don't know what's going on, kids. Hello, everybody. It is nighttime for me. It's 8:18 where I'm at, Jacarius, the same time zone as you. Hello, Speedy. Hello, Beauty for Ashes, everything. That's my semi-banana back there. Funny. I am here. You got to see more of me now than when I wasn't on here. I decided to stay in tonight. because I'm tired. I took a nice hot shower, and like I needed one. I take one a couple days. So on train, and it was everything. The water pressure is the bomb. I washed my hair and the ponytail right now. And I got into bed and it took me a nap. Like I said earlier, I might do earlier. I just had dinner. I had Famous Dave's, which I was shocked they have one here. And so it was really good. So I did that. And now I'm here. And I decided, so my sister would stay in because I am tired. I said, I'm going to be here 4 days now. So I'm like, I can take my time. I have to run out and do everything in the world. It's all good. It's all good. How's everybody else doing tonight? So it's 6:20 if you're in Los Angeles or the West Coast. It's 9:20 if you're ahead of me in the East Coast. So I'm like, I don't know what time it is. I don't know what I'm doing, what day it is. So it's like, it's Friday. I'm like, it's Friday. Had no idea. I'm not gonna do it with my glasses on, hopefully. My eyes were hurting earlier. It's been wonderful. I have two Kansas City guys I want to read through. I like to read through them and see what they're talking about. Like, what's the hottest? What's the hottest? It's supposed to rain tonight. I'm so excited. It does. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I want it to rain. It looks misty out there already. I want it to rain. I gotta do my nails. I didn't do my nail polish. Shit. My nails are horrible right now. But it was just today was a very relaxing day. And went by super fast. I was like, today's over already? Today's over already. I can't believe it. So this week did go by fast, didn't it? You ordered pizza and watched a movie. Good for you. And I haven't decided what I would do yet. I don't know what I want to. I have these DirecTV nothing on there, but I want to see if I can project. If it's a smart TV, I can project what's on my phone here and cast it onto the TV. That's what I'm hoping to do too. And I decided when I watch it. I haven't decided. I'll make you curious. Very nice of you. Well, it's giving me a notification. It says I'm live, but I'm all dark in the picture. I don't know what that was. That's weird over there. Because during daytime is fine. I was going, I gotta let that go. I don't know what's going on. I gotta let that go. So yeah, so I'm on now because I don't know if I'll be on later. I might be sleeping later. But it's been good. Everything's going smoothly. So after I got the phone with you guys, I decided I wanted to stay an extra day. So I was able to change my train ticket. Okay. I was able to change my train time at this field. I was able to change my train ticket. So just a day later, didn't cost nothing extra. All good. I got a hotel. So I'm at this hotel and I said, let me go online and book it cheaper. Yeah, I got the hotel an extra night here in this, hopefully in the same room, the same type of room for $22. Not kidding, kids, $22 for one night stay. And I was like, oh my God, that's good. So I booked that. So I'm like, thank you. So I feel like one of my friends was telling me that I must need to be here now. I wasn't meant to be here on my birthday. And it's funny is my sister took my mom out today, did her daughter duties, did all that. So that was good. And mother's happy about that. So that was good. So everything at home is doing just fine. They're doing just fine without me. Thank you, Jesus. So I'm actually staying an extra day. It makes my week a little crazy next week. Hi, this girl beauty. Makes my week a little crazy next week, but it's gonna be fine. That Wednesday, I got 10,000 things to do, and I'll leave Thursday morning. But yeah, I'm so happy. I don't know what that is. I won't step on that. And so I gave my sister, who's here, to call a little money for her because she needs money for gas. So she's working tomorrow. I'll see her Sunday. And then I I'm trying to stretch these dollars. But if you want to give to the fund, you can. You already know the ways to do it. It's below, or sign for a Zoom or two. We have the Soap Zoom next Sunday, the 24th, when I get back. And then we have the Zoom-a-Versary the following Saturday. So you can sign for those in October classes, or just give donations to me, which I got 2 donations today. Thank you very much. It's just going right out to stuff like right away. So, but I want to treat my sister at dinner, because I know she just needs it, and I'm gonna buy her some groceries while I'm here. And then so I'm not buying souvenirs or nothing like this. I mean, I've been here before. I want to try to see my aunt Yvette, her grave. I saw her right after she died, but they didn't have a headstone yet. Someone said they have a headstone. Try to see that when I'm out here. But it's just been me just trying to. I feel so much more relaxed. You're one step closer to earning cash. See day players. Very good. Oh, they're coming in November. You got a couple months. Okay, you got a couple months. You can do it, Jacarius. And man, I saw you comment about the banana. I didn't even. You always notice stuff. You always notice stuff in backgrounds. I'm just taking pictures of my food and stuff. Taking pictures of my room. So yeah, and getting ready. And so I've been doing a little bit of work, but good stuff. It's all like right now. I feel so relaxed. I have a little bit of wine, which I may have later. I have it sitting there. But I'm just like, but it's in general, taking that shower, and it's quiet here, and no one's bugging me for anything. I did go through my emails, and I didn't even answer half of them. They know I'm on vacation. Everybody know I'm on vacation. I'll answer when I feel like it. But it's just so relaxing. It's just like, it's relaxing, and it's quiet. Not hear somebody walking right now, but it's quiet, and I don't leaving Los Angeles changed everything. It changed. See, I'm not a Reddit person. I don't read anything. It changed everything. Seriously, being somewhere. I haven't even been out and seen Kansas. Well, driving from when I got in from the train station to here, I saw a lot of Kansas City. I was like, oh, that's it. But I really haven't even explored Kansas yet. But tomorrow I will, and Sunday I will for sure, and then Monday I probably will too. But I'm like, I'm just sitting here, I'm just trying to enjoy this. But coming out here talking to you guys, this is part of the fun. I get to do this not in my hot ass house. It's climate controlled in here. I can turn it on. I can turn heat, air conditioning, do whatever I want. That feels good. I feel like I just try to have a nice big room. I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. I have the food that I want. Now, I'm not being crazy. So, of course, like tomorrow morning, I'm trying to get up and do some walking. That's my plan tomorrow. Is get up in the morning. I set my alarm for 7. Because I don't think I have a gym here. And Planet Fitness is just so far away. So I'm like, I'll just go for a walk out here. I think I'll walk all the way down to the end and come back. Here's what I'm going to do. Walk as far as I can and come back. I know my voice, I sound really relaxed probably. I love it. I love it. It's just much now. I'm just like, okay, if I can conquer the world again. I just had to get out. There's a part of me I was always a traveler. So I think that's something that over the pandemic that got killed. I just didn't do it. I mean, the train was no problem, but dealing with other people and them coughing and shit, I was like, but I don't care. If I get COVID, I just can't. Right now, I'm just so glad to be somewhere else and not to answer to anybody. Oh my God, it's like the world. I can tell you, the world's not gonna fall apart if I'm not there. The world ain't gonna fall apart if I ain't there. Everything's cheaper here. I was like, I had this big thing of water for like $2.99. I got these stuff like that's cheaper. Everything's cheaper here. I love it. I'm going to a grocery store on Sunday, and I love grocery store shopping. So I'm very excited about that. Wonderful. Hello, Sherry. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. It's great. Well, yeah, 8 people watching. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna try this out for a while. These little JLJ this evenings and JLJ after dark. So I'm gonna try a few of these out. I feel like the first episodes each were a success. Very happy. So I'm like, why not? I'm here. Who knows what Toronto I'll be able to do it or whatever, but I'm like, I'm here. I'm gonna try it. This is kind of what I wanted. It's like I don't want to set time. I just want to do it when I feel like it and have a show that I can do that with. And see what happens and see who comes on. And see who comes on. So yes, I have the travel in October. I'm not going anywhere that I know of. And then I have plans for November to go see my daughter for her birthday, early November. But I don't know what's happening. I know you guys were on this morning. It's not funny. I don't think Africa's happening. It's already almost. We're heading towards the end of September. I don't think it's happening. And that that's Hollywood. Luckily, I was excited. I thought it was a go when they said we have to get the budget approved. I thought the budget was approved already. I didn't even know. I thought when they were asking me, it was like, we have the money. Do you want to go? But then it was like, now it's like, well, we got the budgets, and I'm like, okay. So I'm disappointed, but not super saddened. I'll be okay. Life will go on. You just gotta keep it going. It would have been nice to have gone. A good time. And I'm still friends with everybody there, and I'm not going to cut nobody off. It's just that's how the world works sometimes. So guess I'll be going. And I always look at it this way: it must be a reason why I'm not going. Like I said, this makes up for my room, makes up for my birthday. This makes up for everything on that end, at least. So I was like, okay. You have all this lighting everywhere, kind of crazy. So what are y'all doing? What's going on? If anybody wants to join me on here, I'll send you a link. You can join me on here. I'm like, why not? If you guys want to come on and talk, that's what we're here for. It's the evenings. We're here. It's Friday evening. The old days, right now, I'd be waking up from a disco nap and thinking about going out. No, I didn't hit all my. No, I didn't hit all my favorite food spots today. I can do it all in one day, Sherry. Hello. But I did have one that came up that I didn't even realize. I had two I liked. I had Cracker Barrel this morning for breakfast, and I had Famous Dave's, which I thought they were out of business. They are in California. I had it for dinner. I didn't have lunch because I ate late breakfast, so it kind of worked. But I did have two of my favorite spots today so far. But this weekend I'll have the rest. My other spots. Me and MJ talk about where I want to go, and me and my sister about where I want to go. So yeah, I'll by the time I leave Monday night, I will have hit hopefully I will have hit all my spots. I hit two of my spots today. Joy James. Now you know Sherry ain't gonna go on here and talk. She don't come on Zooms. She always comes on at the end but she always talks in the chat. Well, she don't come on here. The only person in this chat that I think would come on would be Matt, if he wanted to come on. Other than that, nobody else would come on here. It's on here right now. And my buddies have got like Flobo's Japan. My friend Caesar's somewhere. I haven't talked to Tony. I didn't talk to him today. I just realized. Usually we talk every day, but I'm on vacation. I'll talk to you at some point. I keep forgetting, I'm ahead of time too. So I can actually come on. You'll come on? Oh, okay. Matt says I'll come on for a little bit. Okay, let's see. I love this. Let me send you the link. Oh, should I just give you the link? Let me show you the link. Pour some sugar on me. Pour some sugar on me. Pour some sugar on me. I'm hot, sticky, and sweet from my head to my feet. This thing is like making me go all over the place. This is so weird being on here. Okay, I don't care. Just copy the invitation. Copy invitation. Pour some sugar on me. Pour some sugar on me. Let's see if this works. Paste. Show. Okay, I just sent it to you. I sent it there. Okay, so I just sent it to you. Pour some sugar on me. Pour some sugar on me. Okay, let's see if Matt gets it. I just sent. Hi, Angel. Hi, Angel Blue 27834 65783. I don't know. I love Kansas City. I've been here before many times. So I used to work here. So I like Kansas City's in the Midwest. You know, very much. It's very middle of the country. Hi, Ethel. It's very middle of the country. I like the people here, and I don't know, I like it. I do. I like it a lot. I think it's very cool. And it's not too much anything. It's like it literally is very much middle of the road here. Very middle. There's some ghetto parts. There's some non-ghetto parts. There's some good parts. It's a little bit of everything. Yeah, I just sent you. Well, I can't say I love the food. It's a very good eating town. So I do. I enjoy it. But I just got here today, and I haven't even seen much of it yet. So I will be exploring this weekend. I thought, well, James, take your time. I'm here for 3 more days. I'm going to take my time and just see how it goes. But also, I'm limited on funds, so I'm trying to spend my money wisely, the money I have. So that's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm like. Just be careful, James, with what you have. Yeah, make it last. So yes, but I made sure I got a hotel room for 4 days and all the stuff. That's all good. Oh, it's your hometown. Okay, I never had a problem with Kansas City. I lived other places, and Kansas City doesn't bother me at all. I like it. I like your hometown. I do. I think I like the Midwest, Angel. So I'm a Midwest fan. I do. So I don't know. I'm a weird person. I like the Midwest. But there's some nice stuff in there. It's good. Like I said, good food, some good architecture. They're building a lot here too. So, but Missouri, we like Missouri. I can't see Kansas a little more rougher, but I don't mind it either so much. Oh my God, Matt is actually joining me. I can't believe this. But there's some nice stuff in there. It's actually good. Oh, yeah, I hear my voice. And no background. I love it.
Yeah, you could see all my junk.
It's Matt unplugged. Because it's nighttime. It's nighttime. We're different at night. Nighttime is different.
Me with my hair from earlier today.
You look fine. You always look fine. But I love it. It's like we're all just being ourselves tonight. That's what the morning's different. Zooms are different. This is just an evening show. Ow, my hand.
Make sure to turn my phone audio off so it's not leaking through. So, how are you enjoying the property that you're staying at?
Your phone is giving me feedback. Is your phone near?
I just turned it down.
Okay, good. I was like, I couldn't hear anything. So it's okay. So here's the thing about Angel Blue. Here's the thing about Canada. Everybody, here's the thing about Canada. Yeah, blue looks good on map. Not also good blue. Here's the thing about Kansas City. I've been coming here for 10, 15 years, and I never go by stars anymore because I have found I've been in some 4-star hotels here, and they're actually 1-star.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in some 2-star hotels here, and they're actually 4 stars. So I will give my room 4 stars. The property itself is 2-star. It really is 2-star. I can tell. But I've only been here kind of for a day. So tomorrow morning, when I go in the morning, I'll go for a walk from exercise. I'm gonna see their breakfast setup. They have a breakfast setup. I'm gonna see what that looks like. That tells you a lot also.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell they're doing renovations here. So where I'm at, I'm by the airport, and there's a bunch of hotels here. It's a hotel park basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 4-point Sheraton right across the way. They're like, that's nice, but it's expensive. But it's actually the staff was decent. They weren't super friendly or super mean. They're between. But I love my room. Like I love my room. My shower was the bomb. It's roomy. It's like I have a little kitchenette island. I love it. With a microwave and I have stuff in the shelves, and I like it so far. So it's called a microtel, and sometimes you don't know till you get here, but everything's clean. I checked for bed bugs in my bed. No bed bugs in my bed, or check my bed bugs. I have 2 TVs, which is kind of weird. But I like it.
Yeah, the one of the things that we always try to get whenever we travel, if we're going for 2 nights or a week or whatever, we always want to, if we can, to have a microwave and a refrigerator. Because you go out to eat, you don't finish your food. It'd be nice to have it to snack on later instead of just throwing it out. And it's funny, like there have been a couple of times where we haven't had that, and it's like, now what do I do? And it's like, I can't even go down to the front desk and get a candy bar at 10 o'clock at night because no one's at the front desk.
Right.
So, but yeah, it looks like a nice little studio that you got.
Look at it. I have a separate bedroom and living room. It's like really interesting. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri at the moment, B. Patterson. Kansas City, Kansas on the other. So Kansas City is on the state line. It's divided into 2 sides. So I'm near the state line. I'm near the airport. So Kansas City, Kansas on the other side. That's where the Speedway is and all that. I'm in the Missouri side.
Are you able to get any plane spotting in?
They don't fly over here. Plus, it's cloudy right now. It's supposed to rain, so can't see anything. But yes, no, yes, and well, it's funny throughout the country because I've traveled cross country many times. I've driven cross country, everything. There's a lot of hotels that aren't ritzy titsy, artsy fartsy, that are just really good. Are good. They're not expensive. And like they're cheap as fuck. And you're like, so I always read the comments. Like I always read the latest comments when I go on hotels.com or wherever. I go, okay, who's been here the last month? And I look at those. And I look at and I judge the comments. I'm like, okay, you're just too picky. Okay. And some people whatever. I'm not picky. I just make sure it's clean. That's all. At least it's clean. That's fine. And yeah, and I like good water pressure, and I hate the towels, of course. I used to bring a towel on my own, but I forgot to this time. But it's other than that, it's good.
So, by the way, I didn't think about it till you just mentioned it a little earlier, James. So because you extended your stay, you're really only home for like what, a day when you get home, and then you go back out.
Yes.
Does the property that you're at, do they have laundry available?
I'm gonna look. I haven't seen it yet, but because I need some clothes I need to wash right now.
Because
but I also, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking it's like I'm sure you're going to be crushed for time when you get home to, just check the mail and a few other things. And it's like, oh my gosh, are you going to have clothes to pack for your next trip?
Well, I got plenty of clothes. Actually, I know I got clothes. But the thing is, for me, when I used to do this all the time before I got into this business. Sometimes I used to pack bags ahead of time for trips like this. And I just drop this one off and pick up the next one. Luckily, the next trip's only literally it's 3 days.
What was the bag with the phone booths on them? Were you able to get more into them? Or were they bigger on the inside is what I'm saying?
Well, they expand. All my luggage expands.
You know what I'm saying. Was it bigger on the inside?
Don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Hang on.
I'm just pretty. I don't know anything. I'm like, what? I'm like, they expand. So yes, there's plenty of stuff in there. Are you gonna do a demonstration? I love it. He has left the building. That poor plant back there. I need some help. Oh, I could just say. Okay, I could just say. Okay, now I'm sorry. I just travel cross country. I'm like, I don't know what are you talking about.
I'm even wearing blue.
He's wearing blue, folks. He's wearing blue. I'm wearing Flobo shirt. Flobito.com. It's hard to find rooms with both the refrigerator and microwave unless it's a suite. That's why I bring snacks that don't need to be heated up.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some snacks. I've learned to bring snacks with me also, period, because I'm on this diet thing, so I always have so that I can grab. I'm not a snacker, thank God, so it doesn't bother me so much. I like to have stuff just in case, but sometimes I'm with him. I don't always finish my food.
Mm-hmm.
Like my breakfast, part of my breakfast is still in here. So now it's in the refrigerator. If I want it tomorrow, I can heat it up in my microwave.
Yeah, we always we usually pack things like granola bars or I'm trying to think of what a couple of the other things. Scott usually grabs a Snickers and throws it in his laptop bag because you just never know. There could be an issue with you boarding your transport, whether it's train or flight or whatever. And you might just not have the time to do, to grab something right before you get on your transport. When we did San Diego Comic-Con back in, I think it was 2012, and we went from LA to San Diego on train, and I was pissing and moaning the entire time because I wasn't seeing the ocean view like I thought I was going to see for most of the time. I was looking at utility buildings and dirt. But that trip, which took some time, they're like, "Oh, we apologize. We weren't able to restock our food car."
That's happened too.
And it's like there was like a limited, like they had some bags of chips and some waters, and that was it. And it's like, we're on this train for a few hours and it expected to get like a sandwich or something. And same thing flying. We've had one or two flights where they're like, oh, we just couldn't get stocked. So yeah, it's always nice to travel with non-perishable snacks.
Well, I carry a food bag with me, so I carry that with me in LA because I travel so much in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I always have a few things in there, some waters and things like that. BPAS likes to carry Slim Jims. Very good. One of the great things about the train station, I'm an Amtrak member, so I can stay in the lounges across the country. The lounges carry food. The lounges, you can bring food with you. It's up to you. You can take it on the train with you. So I also stacked up on beef jerky, and they have good items and bad items. I grabbed the good stuff. They have these popped potato chips. I grabbed all that and put it in my food bag. So
there's been some changes, both American and Delta so far for air travel. They're making it more difficult for people to access their lounges. So it used to be like, oh, you get a credit card that has a $400 annual fee, but you get all these perks that you can redeem, and it pays for itself. And that's one of the ones that one of the airlines is getting rid of. Delta, I think they're making it's like, oh, we've streamlined your rewards membership, and it's so simple. And it's like, yeah, I just have to spend more money in order to get access to that perk. So it's like, yeah, it's become air travel. It's becoming more difficult to get access to things like that. So that's nice that you still have that for Amtrak.
They're fine. I mean, I like their customer service. I like their stuff. I do. I'm very impressed by them. Every time I've had to call up to change something, they're very friendly. They had to get it open. I mean, compared to most places, because there's sometimes you meet somebody on the phone and it's like, "Hi, can I help you?" I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "You hate your job, obviously. I hate your job for you, but I need your help." And a lot of times they'll get a little better with it and I always go, "Hi, how are you today?" They're like, "What? Huh? What? How am I today?" I always ask first and say, "Hi, Miss So-and-so. How are you today?" And they're like, fine." Then they loosen up. So
I was looking at the comments. I was going to ask. I saw Becky D saying about having a sandwich. Is like if they were one of those ones. It's like, oh, would you like a sandwich? And just has one ready.
In her big purse, I love it. There's that too, Becky. No, she said, okay. So on the train, I don't know if I said this earlier when I was on. They have a cafe cart, cafe lounge, but they also have the actual restaurant or whatever on the train. Well, they're doing because I used to have a room. So if you get a room, your food's included. It's really wonderful. No price. You have whatever you want. But they're like, they have a flat fee. If you're in coach, it's a flat fee. And I'm like, they was like, for lunch, that'll be $45. Like, what the fuck are you feeding me? And then it was like, and they named the stuff. I'm like, that's not $45. And they're like, for dinner, that'll be $65 for one person. They're giving you, yes, they're giving you, that doesn't include liquor either. That includes just regular beverage, salad, entree, dessert. And I'm like, that's a little expensive. So I didn't have that kind of money to waste. So I was in a cafe car and I got sandwiches and shit. I was like, okay, that's fine.
I was like, is Gordon Ramsay or Wolfgang serving it to you personally?
If he was, I'd pay that price, yes, but I don't think he was. Not on my trip to Chicago. Basically, was going to Chicago. So I don't know. I mean, it's so you guys, there is the dinner train in Napa, the dinner wine train in Napa is a lot of fun to do also. Keep that in mind, kids. You can get on there to serve you a full dinner, but you get to taste the wines of Napa, and you're drunk after. It is wonderful. I've done that there. Have you ever done that? What's your name, Matt? What's your name? I can't remember your name. What's your name?
In fact, the only train trip I've ever taken was that one from LA to San Diego. Scott's taken a few train trips from our area up to what they call Nova, Northern Virginia.
I'm sure you have any trains like over to New York or anything, or DC or that kind of stuff. I mean,
I'm sorry. I utilized the Path Rail quite a few times when I was in Jersey, to go from Jersey to New York. But again, that's just like a really long subway ride.
That's a train.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Zelle trains back there too. I've taken those.
But yeah, I don't count like local rail lines like the MARTA in Atlanta.
I know MARTA. Yes, I do. I know the MARTA. I know the Metro in DC, the MARTA Atlanta, the BART in San Francisco, Muni in San Francisco. I do those every day. Pittsburgh just started their own subway system a little bit, so they're doing theirs. I think where else am I missing? Boston, I've been in their subway system. I forgot the name of the Boston in Boston.
We've been to Boston, but I don't think we used the rail system there.
I've done it a couple times. Everybody go shopping on Newberry Street. That's the shopping place in Boston.
Thing we did notice about Boston is don't rely on GPS if you're in the main area of Boston, because the buildings just block your cell phone signal.
Well, I've been very lucky. Every time I've gone, I had a friend who lived there. So every time I went, I was visiting him. I never went to Boston for shits and giggles. I always went to visit him, and then whatever. We're not friends anymore, so that's a story for another time. But I've never been where I had to like navigate myself to it. Thank God. I like the North End. That's where all the food is. The Italian food is really good.
I think we were on the South End. I think that where the docks are and where the convention center is. I think that was the South End of Boston.
And I've also taken the duck tour, where it's a bus turns into a boat. I've done that in Boston.
I wanted to ask you, James. So you stated about your preferences when you're on a cruise, as far as where you stay when you're on a cruise. Do you have similar preferences when you take a trip on a train, especially when it's taking more than a day to travel?
Well, normally I get a room. That's my preference. You have your own room, you don't have to worry about anybody else. This is the first time I've taken a room in years. So I like lower level because it's less seats. It's quieter, and you have better bathrooms and stuff down there. And I actually just gave up my lower level status today to stay a day longer. I'm like, ugh. I like window seat, like just like on a plane, like window seat. I get it. The trains, the seats are very comfortable. I was very impressed. And now it's just two. It used to be 2 or 3. Now it's just 2 per seat, and they're pretty wide. So, or I'm getting smaller, one or two. But it was like, wow, there's room in here. And I had a cute guy sit next to me, so I was like, wow, for a while. Then he moved. Then he went about. Then I'm actually glad he left. I saw him several times later on the train, but he went to another part. As we spread up, so I had both seats to myself. I just spread it all out and like that. But the bathrooms were disgusting. Oh, that's the only thing. I was like, pure. This is TMI, folks. It was all number one the whole 2 days I was there. I had to come here to do number two. I was like, I'll just hold it. I was not, nope. I don't know how you chicks do it. It was good. There was no amount of seat covering. It was just people are gross, and I was just like, oh, that was gross. So no, thank you.
Now, something I had heard not too long ago is when it comes to rail, specifically with Amtrak, is it really a kind of not count? Like you say, you got a room, so that's different. But if you don't get a room, is it kind of like a first come first serve as far as seating goes?
Oh no, they seat you. They tell you where to, they tell you where to go. They have a system. They like to place a lot of folks who are getting off the same station near each other, so you all just get on at the same time. Makes it easier. So yes, the high speed reel from LA to Vegas. Yeah, 2027. You can do that. I can't wait. I love it because I'm a Vegas freak, so I would love to do that. That's great. They still try to talk about the one from San Francisco to LA too. That's another one I would love to see happen.
By the way, was I guess Becky and Sherry. I once snuck an entire loaf of toasted bread into the movie theater, but that was because I was going to Rocky Horror.
Oh yeah, get the bread. I used to take stuff in. Not so much anymore. I don't go to movies anymore, so no matter to me, I don't go to a movie. And that's why I went to a movie was with Marissa Serafini, and that was to see Aretha. And that was it. I don't go to movies. I stay home and watch movies. I'm like, fuck going to movies. Nah.
You're not going to go see T Swift concert?
Whilst I don't mind a Taylor Swift song here and there, no. Now, if it comes on Hulu or something later, I might check it out. But I'm just trying to think of now. I'm trying to figure out because Madonna is coming next year now. I'm trying to see if I can save some money and go to her concert. I want to go to her concert. Mm-hmm. It's all her hits. I mean, I've been there.
I still have the Madam X in my queue to watch. Her, I forget where that appearance was of hers.
Fan of that album. I know people are like, it's not a fan album.
Yeah.
I have the special album. I did like I buy her stuff. But I was like, As soon as you said toast, I'm like, oh, I know. I've done it too. My sister and them used to be really heavy. My sister and my ex-boyfriend are both in the 25th anniversary edition of the book. Right, because they're showing local productions and how they both took me to the midnight showings. I didn't even know what that they both showed me the way of all that. I miss that, man. I miss some of the eccentricities of life. I feel like I'm just old and just sit in my house. I miss the Elvira Mistress of the Dark and going to some of her events and seeing her. And I mean, I know she's still out there, but like it wasn't like it used to be. Like it's not fun anymore. Like it's just like, where's fun? No. I missed all the extra crazy things. What's y'all's favorite Broadway show? Good question, Matt. What are your favorite Broadway shows?
Well, of course, my favorite would have been for our 1 year anniversary, my anniversary with my husband. He bought us tickets to go see Wicked. So that was my favorite. Wasn't my first. My first Broadway show was actually getting to see Sir Patrick Stewart do a one-man show of Christmas Carol, and that was freaking awesome, especially because he wasn't in costume. And it was fun to see him, take liberties with the writing and stuff and whatnot. That was also when I first learned about the stage door, and this was like 1990, 91 maybe, and I was just like too nervous. I'm like, I can't go up and ask for an autograph. But it was an amazing experience.
Would you go now?
What's that?
Would you go now to? Everybody's like, oh, how sweet I know. Would you go? Matt's precious. Would you go to the stage door now?
Yes. In fact, the last production we went to go see was Boys in the Band. And if you have no idea what that is, please look it up. And at the very least, go try to find a way to watch the movie version from, was that 70s, late 70s?
Oh,
James, maybe
it was
early
like
80s.
69, 70, yeah.
Yeah, Boys in the Band. Please watch it. But anyway, the production we saw: Charlie Carver from Desperate Housewives and Teen Wolf, Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory, Matt Bomer from White Collar. I mean, it was just star-studded, and it was amazing. And of course, we did the stage door, and we didn't know that through the entire production, Jim Parsons was walking around with like a broken foot, a toe, I think. And it was a two-tiered stage. So he didn't come out because he just wanted to get the heck off his foot. We do have plans to go see a production very soon. I'm not publicly releasing that information. I think I may have told James. But anyway, yeah, that's the one thing I wish. I wish it was more convenient for us to go to the theater. Just because, and there's local productions and stuff, but it's not quite the same if you get to a New York theater or an LA theater. It's its own experience. And if you ever have a chance to go see a live theater production, I don't care what it is, just go.
You brought Jakari's like, yes, Jakari's Matthew Bomer is Soap alumni. Yes, he is.
Yes.
They're all amazing cast. So for me, I'm a little more seasoned than that. I've been around the block a few more times. The first musical I saw, I can't, and I didn't even know the weight of it until later. I saw Evita in 1981 with Patti LuPone. So I didn't even get it until years later what that meant. Like I just said to my Uncle Joe, who took me in LA, he knew what it meant, obviously. I didn't even know what that meant until years later. That's the first one I saw. Go ahead, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, I didn't become aware of Evita because I'm such a sheltered child. I didn't become aware of Evita until Madonna's version. And of course, I fell in love with the soundtrack for it. And then years later, when I got access to satellite radio and could listen to on Broadway, and just repeatedly would hear Patti LuPone's Evita, and I'm like, I don't like the way she's singing this. This is not the way Madonna.
Oh, that's so funny.
But I've grown to apprapprite it. Same thing with like Patti LuPone in Company. It's like once I sit and listen to her work, it's like I've really come to appreciate it.
Funny you say these two things. One thing is I'm an Andrew Lloyd Webber person, so Andrew Webber's my thing. Number two, I've been listening to Company recently. That's actually been I've been playing the London cast recording. This was a couple of years ago. I found it on Spotify, and I've been playing it to death. The day I think the one song I'm playing it was the day we're supposed to get married today. That song, I'm just like, I play it on repeat. It's so fast. It's so fast. And I'm like, I'm studying it to see how they do it. But anyway, so you mentioned Company. That's one I'm listening to right now.
Did you ever see them do that? Did you ever see the Glee episode of them doing that song? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the actress's name, but she like freaking nailed it. I understood everything she was saying, but it's like it was amazing.
But the whole Company, the song, all that. So I'm like, oh, anyway, and I'm a Sondheim person too. So anyway, so I grew up with theater because of my mother. Raul Esparza is good, Lori. Theater stuff. So the first soundtrack that I heard, Casper, I heard in the womb. Until I mother said I knew it by heart at 3 years old, mind you. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, who are you? What have you sacrificed? Jesus Christ, superstar. That's my favorite musical of all time. It's Superstar. And I've seen it a million times. But as I said, I'm an Andrew Lloyd Webber person. So a close second is Phantom of the Opera. It's close second, very close second. I've seen that a million times too. So those are my top two. And I saw Evita, of course. I saw others. Those are my top two, and very close, almost a tie for number two, one singular sensation.
Oh.
Every little step she takes. Da-da. Well, I love chorus line. So I've seen all those like a million times.
I think the intro to entertainment, like 101, should be. I get. Can we say naughty words?
Yes, it's easy.
So I think introduction to the entertainment industry 101 should
Tits and
include
ass.
tits and ass
Tits and ass.
from chorus line.
Yes, get your knockers done. I know every song. I know every, and it's a chorus line is a great representation of this business.
Mhm.
We have a gay person, Puerto Rican, so I can relate to those. Black person, older person, younger. I think it's from the perspective.
I didn't even know what a snow cone was, or whatever it was.
Yes, exactly. Yes, he's from nothing. I feel it because in Puerto Rico, it doesn't snow on San Juan. Yeah, that's the thing. It's such a great. It has heart. I've seen so many different productions of it. But side note, I didn't care for Love Never Dies, which was the sequel to Phantom of the Opera. Didn't care for that.
That's one. That's okay. So yeah, if you're a Weber fan.
Yes.
It's like I need to like this. I'm really supposed to like this, and it can be a little hard to listen to.
Like Starlight Express, I'm not a huge fan of that one either, but I have watched it. He says, was it Leah Michelle on Glee? Did she do it?
I'm sorry.
Or we're going to get married today?
No. It wasn't Leah Michelle. No. It was the counselor that ended up marrying Matthew Morrison's character later on in the series. But anyway, but no, she just really did a great job of it on that show, of that number.
And I did love In the Heights. I loved Hamilton. I've seen Hamilton a million times. So yes, I love the Lin-Manuel Miranda stuff. I didn't see Come From Away, but I can tell you what musical I walked out on. I walked out on one musical because I didn't know what it was. And I went there because the person who wrote it, I liked his song in the 90s. This is a little trivia question for everybody. So there was a song called Barely Breathing. There's a huge one-hit wonder by a cute guy named Duncan Sheik in the 90s. Very cute. He wrote Spring Awakening, which I was like, oh, he wrote it. I'll go see the Spring Awakening. When I saw what it was about, I'm not going to tell you guys can look it up, whatever. I actually walked out after a couple songs. I couldn't get into it. I left. So that's the only one I ever walked out on. So,
James, I want to ask you, and you can choose to not answer this, whatever. In the Heights, stage versus silver screen.
Yes. I will answer it happily. You know me, I will talk race and colorism anytime I'm asked. I'm disappointed in Lin-Manuel very much because I know he apologized, but I think he fell prey to Hollywood a little bit. I mean, I couldn't believe I saw because Lori, I saw In the Heights, almost in the Heights. I saw it on Broadway. I saw the production, and my family's from the Heights, so I do know that area, and we're of that coloring and everything. So I was shocked at how whitewashed it was. Mm-hmm. Because Hamilton wasn't. Hamilton completely, well, in the movie, but Hamilton, the play, and it was very colorful. Mm-hmm. All shades represented. So yes, when I saw the criticism about that, I was upset about that too. And even though I love me some Rita Moreno, that's my girl, her comment got on my nerves too. And again, you're also a lighter skinned Latino. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things. I just watched a special. It's funny. It's funny we're talking about this. On ABC, it may be coming on where you guys are back in time, because right now it's already later here, about rise of Latino musicians in pop music, how it's popular. Now it's just part of it. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. But they also did a section on Afro-Latino. Mm-hmm. That's like Sheila E. That's Celia Cruz. That's Don Omar. That's a lot of folks who are a little darker hue. They're not Pitbull. They're not Bad Bunny. They're not, the ones that are popular. They're not Shakira. I love all of them. I love them all. Mm-hmm. I love Gloria Estefan. I love all of them. But There's a woman named La Negra. Her name, she's out. She's really big. Lamar, she's good. There are darker skinned blacks that are also and reggaeton, which is actually African music, was brought to the island of Puerto Rico. And it's like, but I've been to all those islands and I know there's colorism there too. So yes, but I was shocked by Lynn because Lynn usually gets it. I was kind of like, I think a little Hollywood got in the way.
Lately, I've been listening a lot to 70s through 90s music when I'm in the car. And it's like, I'll hear it and I'm like, oh, I remember hearing this. And then because it's satellite, I'll look at the dash and I'm like, who the F is that? Because we didn't always get the information. It's like, yeah, usually, the DJ will say, hey, this is so-and-so with such and such, da 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 da. But that's usually all you got. Unless you were listening to like a talk radio that happened to get these artists on, which they were very few and far between back then. Whereas now we've got a lot more instant information between social media and satellite radio and a few other streams. So it's like I can't remember, just earlier today, there was a song and it's like, I remember hearing this song played all the time. And the gentleman, the original video, you could clearly see that he may have had Latino heritage, and his last name was clearly Latino. And it's like, but when I heard it, it's like, oh, well, in my bubble, I just assumed this was another white boy singing a song because I just didn't have the information provided to me like we have it available today. So it really got me to thinking. It's like, how many songs, how much appreciation did I have for someone's work, and I had no idea of their culture or their heritage or their contributions or whatever, just because of like you said, the whitewashing that was done in the industry for so long.
I guess because I'm from LA or whatever, New York, I agree that we have more access to people, but I know I always knew who they were. It's funny because especially LA is a very major media hub. Mm-hmm. So we would get everything out here. Our morning radio, we'd had everybody on. I mean, they would interview everybody. Would stop through Kiss FM. That was a really big deal. Or the new wave artist, Carol Q. They always talk to Richard Blade in the morning. Like, so I guess I always had access to that. It's just that now social media, you have access to them. I feel like that's changed. Before it was like, I didn't know all their business, but I knew enough. And I know that some people only change their last names because that's what they're told to you. Or there's only 2 artists that I didn't know that they were actually not black. But go ahead, you got something you want to say?
No, I was just saying Kiss FM used to be on my satellite radio until somewhere around the pandemic, and they didn't renew.
How funny.
So it was nice to listen to a local station from the LA market, because like you said, obviously there was more access. So it's like the radio station could call up a popular performer and say, hey, come on the show and talk about your latest song.
All the time. Yeah. I used to, Richard Blade used to actually do a video show here in LA for a minute. Also, that was my new wave music. So I could see Depeche Mode and New Order and all that. We had to see them. But I Kiss FM I grew up with Rick Dees in the morning. That was my whole thing. He was Disco Duck. He was all these.
I remember Rick Dees.
Yeah. Rick Dees. He was the bomb. But I grew up with him literally 102.7 every morning. So that was kind of cool. What's your favorite genre of music? Okay, so go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Oh, me. Oh gosh, pressure. When I was younger, in my teens and early 20s, it was a lot of classical and new age. And I say new age using from that time. So lots of Enya, lots of Mozart. But that was also before I understood about my mental health. So I was using that music as a way to cope with my anxiety. So that was because I wasn't diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder until like 93 or something. So before that, I didn't realize those were coping mechanisms that I was using. So, but fortunately, I have if I hear classical music or music like Enya or whatever, there's good memories. So now It's funny. I forget how long ago it was. Someone asked me this question, and they're like, "Oh, what do you really like?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, aside from musical and Broadway, I usually listen to top 40." And their response was, "Oh, so you let other people decide what you want to listen to?" And I'm like,
Well,
"Okay, I'm
pop's
just
a
gonna
dirty word. Yes, all that
I'm just
stuff.
gonna yeah. If that's what you want to think, okay, that's fine. I'm
Pop just means pop.
not gonna fight on the internet with you."
So the chat, yeah, Richard Blade was the best. Yes, Latino, most Latino music was started in Cuba and Puerto Rico. Yes. I get extra Spanish for you guys tonight. I've been listening to Depeche Mode a lot recently, Speedy, actually, and Dave Gahan's solo record. I've said that a lot. That's really good also. I don't know if you have that, Speedy. I'm sure you have it, Speedy. It's good. So for me, I liked everything. I mean, I grew up in the right time period. Our Gen X, our generation came at the right time period.
Mhm.
We had a little bit of everything. And so depending on where you lived and your access to music is what you listen to, right? So we're the MTV generation. So, I mean, we got everything. I mean,
Back when
literally,
MTV played music.
right, when they played music, that's when they played music, right? And I think so for us, I could listen to Madonna and Metallica, but I can listen to Culture Club and AC/DC. Like I could listen to both, and it was okay to like them. So, but for me growing, I guess the one I like the most, if I should put a gun to my head, because this is a really good question, a gun to my head, it would be dance music, I guess. And that includes disco, house, techno, whatever, just dance music in general. I think it's probably my favorite. And then second favorite would possibly be rock. I do like rock music. I grew up with rock music. I was a metalhead in the '80s. I loved all that stuff. Oh yeah,
Really?
I used to hang out with on Sunset Strip all the time. So yeah, I know people are shocked, but I love a lot of rock. My mother was a rock. My mother was a hippie. So I grew up with folk music and rock music. She liked Bob Dylan, but she also liked, Led Zeppelin. She liked Jimi Hendrix. So I just grew up with my father was the pop guy. He liked Barry Manilow. He liked Linda Ronstadt. He liked all those, he liked all of them. And so it's very interesting. Sherry, I was surprised. So Sherry, at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a show called James Lott Jr. is the farmer and Jack Farmer is the DJ. We did 11 episodes. Check it out. We did music because we both were DJs. So we talked music every week. We did 11 episodes. He quit on me. And so we talked, you should watch it. It's real. I should promote that. It was a really good show. We're talking because it's evergreen. And recently I've done shows on race and music with my buddy Jerry Carroll, and those are highly rated episodes also. So it's funny. So I'd love to have a music show. I just haven't done one. I'd love to have one. Becky D says to you that person isn't worth arguing with, Matt. I agree with that. But I just go ahead.
No, I was just saying I've been online since about 1986, and I learned very early on that arguing on the internet really only has one outcome and just makes you look like an idiot. So
I agree with him. I agree with Matt on that one. I was very fortunate because I grew up with all kinds of my parents' older siblings. When you have older siblings, you're used to their music. My brother happily says, he learned stuff from us because I'd bring home records and he'd hear them. I was there at the birth of rap, and so we were very much into rap when it first came out with Run DMC and all them. We did that, so I agree with that. I even like some jazz. My love of Barbra Streisand came from my aunt Lucille was selling Barbra Streisand records, and so I fell in love with that kind of music. But you mentioned New Age. Matt. It's so funny. So when I was around 19 or 20, I was an adult. It was the late 80s at the time. I'm a few years older than you are. It was late 80s. I started getting into New Age, had a resurgence or a surgence. And bands like Acoustic Alchemy, Kitaro, gosh, another person I used to like all the time. I used to listen to their music all the time. But they're probably I have their albums, and they were very calming. Like I said, they were very calming, teardrop sounds and things. And it was but Acoustic Alchemy was these two guitarists, and it was so just serene music, and just like Oh, you watched a few of those shows? Oh, you did. You watch them? Oh, how funny! Yeah, I mean, watch them. They're really. I should promote those again. Okay, folks, let me get them. You know me. I got right. So I learned from you guys. Let me get it. Let me get my paper. A little note. Make a little note to myself. And I was like, show Jack Farmer show. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually music. Okay. Let me know notes myself. But no, I used to be a DJ myself back in the 90s, and so in San Francisco. So I had Sacramento. So I used to read Billboard magazine every week for like 30 years. So I have a huge music thing. I never thought I'd be in the music business, and now I make music and make money off of music. I write songs for other people, and I never thought that would happen in my life. That would go from being a music lover to actually now I am actually a recording artist. I've written musical stuff. I've written dance songs. I've written songs in Spanish. I mean, I have all these. I think I looked and I have over 500 songs out there somewhere, which I thought would last.
For folks that haven't tried it, next time you're deciding to put anything musical to one of your Instagram posts, do a search for James Lott Jr. And you will find his music there.
Oh yeah, it's all there. I've done collaborations. Flo and I have an album together called Voice and Lot. I have a lot of stuff. I didn't realize that I'm working on my Christmas album right now, and I was like, I have a lot of music out there already. But yeah, I would say dance music and then rock. I see some questions. Let me go back to the questions. I'm gonna go back up here a little bit and see what's going on. The genre to talking favorite boy band.
Are there any boy bands that might be getting back together, James, that you may have liked their post just in the last 24 hours?
You talk about NSYNC. Yes. They're not my favorite, but I like them. You have a favorite boy band? Do you have a favorite boy band?
Me? No.
So no. So for him is no. This okay. So there has been okay. Because I went and saw. Okay, 1 second, everybody. So, Mother, you're on the air. Say hi to the fans.
Hi, fans. How y'all doing?
So it's my mother, and we're waving to you right now. Yeah, I'm full of surprises. So yes, I'm on live right now.
Oh, didn't know that. I just wanted to ask you a question about that picture of your three of us.
Yes, that picture. Yes.
Grandma Luck gave it to you, right?
Nope. Bobby dropped it off and she said she didn't want it anymore and gave it to me. And I'm like, my father's not in that picture. Don't know why he gave it to me. So I told Michael he could have it. We just haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, okay.
Like his dad's in it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Fans.
All right, let's say bye. Bye. Okay. So Melita, I don't know why it says lot. That's so weird. We have lot so.
She's an extra lot.
She's extra. She's extra. She's extra. I'm full of surprises. Yes, I am full of surprises. I do music, so go anywhere you want, wherever you find your music. Type in James Lott Jr. or The Third Dimension or Chog or Boyce and Lot. I'm all over the place. I mean, I have done so many. I'm working on my 11th album, so I've done a lot. I love music. So, we talk about boy bands.
Yeah.
So these are cheap. So I went and saw the remix tour a couple years ago. It was Salt and Pepper, New Kids on the Block, and also it was a fun tour. It was a fun tour. It was fun. I love New Kids on the Block. I do. But for me, I consider them boy bands. It's always a toss up, either New Edition or Boys to Men.
Oh gosh, I remember Boys to Men. I barely remember New Edition. I knew the name.
You were young, so I love them both. And to me, they're boy bands, and so that's always been the thing. Because a lot of boy bands said they modeled themselves after those two boy bands. So, and New Edition came first, but of course, the guy formed New Kids on the Block. We got bigger, and so yeah, man, it's a whole thing about that. But yes, I would say those are my favorite if I had to pick boy bands. I'm more of a girl band person, so Spice Girls #1 all the time. I'm a Spice Girl forever. or Danny Kane. Danny Kane was my other. I love Danny Kane, and I was so sad when they broke up. I was a huge Danny Kane member. Do you have a first aid kit handy? That was my song. I love a song, Damage.
Oh, Becky is reaching back.
And Menudo. Yes.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Ricky Martin. I wasn't, they're from my home place, but I never got into them. But I did like a couple of songs. That's like RBD that became popular years later, Rebel Day from that show. I didn't really get to them either, but I knew some of their songs. But Nudo was too cutesy for me. Plus by then I was a little older. When they came out, I was like 15, 16 years old. A little younger. But Backstreet Boys, great. I met Aaron Carter before he died, so I'm kind of sad by that. He was a very nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was very troubled, but he was a very nice guy. But a lot that's funny. But I'm going old school. I'm going New Edition, Boyz II Men, and New Kids on the Block. Now, it's funny is I know the members of All for One, who had You Can Love Me Like That. Color Me Bad, of course, had I Wanna Sex You Up. So yeah, I don't know if they're considered boy bands. That's the whole point is like boy bands. They always say like 98 Degrees, LFO, all of those were considered boy bands. I guess are they considered Color Me Bad? I mean, or are they R&B groups? Because Jodeci is not a boy band. Neither is Portrait. All these other groups that came out, High Five. They're not boy bands. They're groups. Aren't they just groups?
Would you say that some of them, the ones that we consider boy bands, are more produced, like they were put together?
Yeah,
instead of
very produced. See, and that's the thing with Spice Girls. The four of the girls were originally brought together at an audition. They were rejected.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went off and formed their own group. Brought in Emma. And they actually did their own thing. So. And they co-wrote their songs. So like people forget about that. But it's like people think they're just manufactured. It's like, no, they met at an audition for a girl group and it never happened. They got rejected. Can you imagine? So I know those folks are pissed.
I think it was something similar with New Direction. I think they were in a competition and got put together.
One Direction. I was like, New Direction, One Direction?
One Direction, yeah.
I don't know much about them.
New Direction was Glee. Sorry.
Well, no, it's funny. I like the other group that came out, which was The Wanted. Mm-hmm. They had a song called Glad You Came. That was my favorite song. Glad You Came was a great song. One of the members died recently, actually, it was really sad. So I liked them. And also remember, I also was international. I used to like Take That with Robbie Williams, all that. I was a huge fan of that group. They were big in England. They didn't get big in America. They had one song in America, Back for Good. But I like the girl group. I liked the Saturdays. I liked Girls Aloud. I liked All Saints. They're all British. I met Mel B. So I've met Mel B. And I guess talked to her. I was on her show. I did meet the others. But I did see them in concert when they reunited the first time in 2008. But Danny Kane that was my group. Yes.
Did you ever get speaking back of like the early days of MTV and stuff, did you ever get the production Friday Night Videos?
Yes, of course.
And it was just like nonstop videos.
Yes.
You might have some commentary and stuff, but it was also interesting because you didn't have looking back at it now, knowing what I know. You didn't have the production aspect of MTV on that. They were just playing videos and selling commercials. That's all they were doing. But yeah, I remember. There might be a video, a a VHS tape somewhere in a box in my house that has the video mixtape of things I've recorded off of things like Friday Night Videos.
I'm sure I have them somewhere. But here's what's funny. Do you remember the box?
The box.
You were able to request videos. You would call in, and you would get in a queue, and you request a video, and they would play them and say from so and so, and they play the video.
The earliest. I may or may not have watched certain productions. The earliest um, memory I have of being able to interact with a show while it was in production that I can recall was if you got into the correct AOL chat room when Beavis and Butthead was playing, and they would show the chat. I
Oh,
didn't.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't experience a live music request line other than, you call up and, you hope to get on the air, until decades later. I never saw anything like that before.
Yeah, the box was this channel. It's the channel by itself. I forgot where it was from, and just showed videos. There were no commercials, not there, just videos. But it was all, they would show crawls of people's comments,
Mhm.
but it was all videos requested by people. Then they would do top 10 sometimes a week. There were no VJs or anything. It was just, but you could actually call in, and then you see your video come up like 3 or 4 minutes later and be like, oh my God, I requested that video. It was very 90s. You remember that, Speedy? Yeah, I remember that. It was called The Box. And I don't know what happened to it. I think it was out of Florida. I'm not even sure where it's from, but it was completely this channel. I remember requesting it.
I kind of miss dedications
How funny.
because up and through maybe even into the early 90s, that was a huge thing.
Oh,
You
yeah,
call
it
the
was.
radio station, you say, I would like, could you play this song and dedicate it to this person, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, whatever. And sometimes it was cringy, sometimes it was really sweet.
Yes.
But I kind of miss that.
How funny. I don't listen to radio like that anymore, so I don't
Yeah.
even. But I remember that. I remember that. Well, that or birthdays, your birthday shout out. It's my birthday today. It's James Lott Jr. from Inglewood. Or we're like, oh my God, he's my name. And we're calling in to win prizes. My niece Shelly, actually, it's her birthday next week. That's why I'm going to Silicon Valley next week to see her. She always won tickets. There was one time she won a ticket, and we went and saw Kobe Kaye when she first came out, and she was just having some hits, and I made her laugh.
Mm.
Because we were taught it was a small room at this radio station, and she was just her playing like 10 people. And I go, you're an LA girl like I am. I said, LA girl like me. And we were in San Francisco. She started laughing. I go, you're a San Francisco girl. You're going to hear that a lot for these gay guys. And she was laughing. We had oh my God, we had a good time. Took pictures together. She played a concert for us, just for like 10 of us. And it was great. But my niece always wins stuff.
That's another thing is that we've lost due to technology and corporations is the whole, if you wanted to get tickets to go to a concert, you called the radio station or you went to the record store. You didn't go to this huge corporate conglomerate and pay 500% markup.
I agree. I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. Ugh.
The other thing was you could get to see these very popular performers at a county fair or a state fair or something like that, where it's like it wasn't a 20,000 person venue. It was, 1,200 people that went to their local park or whatever, and we don't see that anymore. I can't imagine that it being possible today. Just for
They still in California. See, again, I guess it depends on where you're from. In California, I don't have to call stuff in, but you see big performers in small venues out here. It's really it still happens. California's just so big. And we have a lot of venues. We have a lot of venues. The box turned to MTV too. Oh, okay, didn't know that. Thank you, Sherry.
Okay.
But for me, I do not miss Bass Ticket Outlet and to wait in line. Because I'll tell you something. I remember I can hear Tony now just like screaming. In 1983, I was 14 years old. And
1983, was that when they did the commitments?
Right, exactly. So that's just it's like, yeah, just right, yes. In 1983, I was 14 years old, and a band emerged a few years earlier. But that was the year it was the year of the Fab Five, Duran. I was a Duranie, and I remember having to go in line at Tower Records, may that rest in peace, waiting at the Bass Ticket Outlet with every other Duranie on earth. And I waited for 7 hours to get tickets. And I was one of the last ones through. they got a ticket. It sold out that fast. I do not miss those days. I love going online. I don't like the prices, like Matt said, I don't like the prices, but I like to just go online and I do not, because I went to a lot of concerts, Matt Gray. I went to a lot of concerts, and a lot of them were I was in line at Ticketmaster or Bass Ticket Outlet, one of the two, Virgin Megastore or Tower Records or wherever, Sam Goody or whatever the fuck, the Warehouse. We sell tickets at Music Plus Records, and I used to work there. Oh, like, but just I don't, Matt, I don't miss it. I miss
do
it
remember I'm not counting independent. I'm just talking about chain.
Yeah.
But I remember Sam Goody was one of the few chains that you could go to and you could listen to music. At least they were one of the first ones to do it. So like I think a few years later, Barnes and Noble started doing that, where you could walk up and listen to.
Also, Virgin Megastore did too.
Okay.
But
like, yeah, again, it was just like I said, for me, people are willing to wait hours in line for a smartphone. I'm not naming.
Or shoes. I don't do that either.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
I don't do that either.
But yeah, the what I miss about it is the interaction that you get with the folks from the radio, or the folks from the radio station, or the folks from the local record store or something like that, because you kind of formed bonds there where it's a lot more sterile these days. But I get what you're saying with, it's like you might be willing to pay a few $100s for a ticket versus 40 if you know you can get it and not have to stand in that 7-hour line.
I think that's a romanticize. I'm like, not me. I'm like, I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. I'm like, lines, period. I'm like, fuck that shit. I don't like line. I didn't like them then. I was 14. I didn't like them. I used to pay people to stand in line for me sometimes. I'll pay you shit. I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to stand in line. But I remember Spice Girls, when they did the reunion tour in 2008, it was a lottery. They were only playing in like 9 places in the world. And one of them was San Jose, which is near San Francisco. And all of us went on the lottery. We all had made the phone call in, left our email addresses, and I was the only one who got it. That's one of the few times I ever won. So I bought us 8 tickets, and everybody paid me. I did a good job too back then. And everybody paid me back, but we had 8 of us went to Spice Girls, and that was so much fun. And that was all online. And that was the first time it was phone call in. That was something that was different too. Basically, we're talking 2008. That's nearly 20 years ago at this point. Whatever. So it's just so funny. But everybody's about Duran. Yes, I was a total Duranie. I had them on my wall, I had the whole thing. I loved all their music and all the Taylors. There were 2 or 3 of them in the group. And we probably were the same concerts. Speedy, did you used to go to Florentine Gardens? And did you used to go to Maryland's? If you went to either of those 2 places, then you saw me dancing with chicks. And one of them was probably my girlfriend. So yes, you do that. One concert I had to get permission from my parents. And this is such the 80s. It's so the 80s and latchkey kid in the world. In 1982, it was Prince, The Time, and Vanity 6. And I wanted to see it so bad. And it was considered a PG concert at the time. They said PG, it wasn't R-rated, it was PG, they named it. So at the time I was 13. So they said I had to get permission from my parents. They had to buy the ticket, and something allowed me to go. And I went to the concert. It wasn't even that nasty or whatever, like compared to today's standards. But I had to get permission from my parents.
And I think that was well before the whole explicit lyrics tag on albums. Yeah, I think that came around to like the 90s.
No, that came out as late 80s. I did a whole show. Actually, I did a whole show on the Filthy 15 on my show. Have You Heard of Me? Check that out. Audio, where you find your audio. I talked about that recently. The Filthy 15. You'd be shocked on what was on the Filthy 15. You were like, that song? That came out late 80s. It was late 80s. That was Tipper Gore, your buddy Tipper Gore. She was doing it out. But yes, it was Prince and The Time and Vanity 6 with Vanity. But then I did see the Purple Rain tour, and that was with Apollonia 6. and Sheila E. opened.
Gosh, I haven't heard those names in a long time.
I know. So I saw them at the Forum, and I saw that. I've seen Prince like 6 times so over the years. So I was a huge Prince fan from the very beginning. So, and I saw the Jacksons once. I didn't see Michael solo. Jacksons once. The Victory Tour, and it was all 6 brothers. It was good, and Michael was magical. He was magical. There's only one Michael, folks. I'm sorry. I love the Jacksons. I know many of them. There's only one Michael. I love Janet. Don't get me wrong. I see Janet in concert too. Hi, DJ Glow. But Madonna. I love Madonna too. I've seen her like 10 times also. But Michael Jackson is in a class by himself. He just was.
I would honestly, if I had thought of all the subjects that you and I might talk about, I would not have pegged music because I feel like I'm a 4th grader talking to a professor.
The audience picked it. See, Matt, we always give in to the fans. Whatever the fans want, I give it to them. They wanted music tonight for some reason. We're talking about my hotel room. They went to music, so I can talk music all day long. I freaking love it. I know DJ Glow, I'm on here still. I know. Well, I was not on here still. I came back. They were here all day. It's not a telethon. Where I was on all day.
Oh,
people are still
that telethon did not start as a telethon.
It didn't. It's all he didn't.
It was like a snowball going down a big mountain.
People are still talking about it.
Yeah.
And so Speedy, yes, you said yes. Okay, you were there. Florentine Gardens was the place for all the high energy music. All that stuff. Expose and all that. You're taking me. All that stuff. That was all Florentine Gardens, all Latinos. And Maryland's was new wave. And I remember both of those. And also at Knott's Berry Farm, there was Cloud 9. Remember that one, you guys? Cloud 9 was also new wave. And Videopolis at Disneyland. You know who I saw at Videopolis? I saw this. Oh my God, Matt. These are names you haven't heard in years.
Probably, yeah.
I went to one concert in 1987. It was Wang Chung, Animotion, and New Shoes. There was all 3 of them were together. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching? It was good though. It was good. So yes, I'm naming names, folks. I'm naming names. Yes. You too. Okay, what's going on with that Sphere in Vegas? What the fuck is that thing?
I've seen more memes
So have I.
off of the Sphere than actual footage of whatever that Sphere is supposed to be.
Yeah, me too. Same here. So like, what is going on with that? So you're saying U2 is going to play there? You could play in the Sphere? I had no idea. No idea. I haven't been in Vegas since the Sphere has arrived.
Have you been? I know you don't. I already know this answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you been up by the smaller Sphere that's off of Hollywood Way, next to the Burbank Marriott Airport?
I've never gone there. So
they were still under construction when we were there last time, and apparently it's the same company that built the big one in Vegas.
I didn't know there was a smaller Sphere.
Yeah. No, I don't think the one in Burbank, I don't think was designed to do what the one in Vegas does. But apparently similar people were involved in construction of both.
Well, Becky, Sherry lives in Vegas. So she's our Vegas girl. So Speedy, you were there too. Yeah, it was Cloud 9 at Knott's Berry Farm and Videopolis at Disneyland. I mean, I'm totally naming myself. But see, I also did the Sunset Strip. So I was at the Rainbow. I was at Whiskey A Go Go, Viper Room.
Been there?
You've been there. Yes, you've been there. Yes, you've been there.
That's the first time I got to meet Tony.
That's right. When you said it, I remember now. I remember that. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did go there. So those are famous venues. I mean, I've been to all those. The Troubadour, all that. I used to go to all that stuff back in the 80s. I was too young. Shouldn't be. This is nighttime, so I can talk about this stuff now at nighttime. My first time going to the Whiskey A Go Go, or the Whiskey as you call it, I was 15 years old. It was 1984. My older siblings, May, Max, rest in peace. I love them to pieces. I used to work at the Hollywood YMCA. So I get off of work and we go out. And now I should have been going home like a good little boy, but no, we go out. And my mother would just say, as long as you guys don't take care of each other, it's the 80s, folks, something different. So on certain nights, we knew a lot of the bands that were on the strip. We knew a lot. We worked in the business. We knew a lot of bands. So we would go. I said, "Oh my God!" Like I'll tell this story. This is Samantha. So, folks, this is the 80s. I do not condone this. Anybody doing it today? I don't condone any 15-year-old doing drugs or anything. Just sharing experience. That'll be in my book one day, also. But the first time I went to the whiskey, it was here's a lineup for you. LA Guns, back when what's his name? Axl Rose was in the group. Rat, and a couple of smaller bands that didn't get anywhere. There were a lot of bands who didn't get anywhere. And we were going, and we'd walk in. I remember walking in, and there's a little section, there's a table. And just like the movies, it's not even a joke. Amount of Coke, not the drink, cocaine on the table. And it's like, help yourself on the way in for free. Mm-hmm. And as sometimes I say, this little dab will do you. I did try it. I was like, why not? I don't condone this for anybody 15 doing it now, but it's the 80s, and my brother takes a couple sniffs. I took a couple sniffs. This is back when we thought that drugs were good, and they won't hurt anybody. And so I did a couple of bumps, and I found I didn't care for it so much because I was always just bouncy even back then. I didn't need a big pink. I was just happy. I really wanted to see the bands. I was so there to see the bands. And I love the scene. I just loved the scene. The creative scene. But they're all into everything. And we party all night and then go to Mel's Diner on Sunset or go to this place called Tarang at Hollywood and eat at 3 a.m. and then go home. And that's what we used to do sometimes. But that was back in the day. So I used to do that. Yes. So the Sphere seats over 1,800.
80,000.
So it's actually a venue. I you know what? I never knew that. And I've never seen anything like Matt said. I haven't seen anything written about actually the Sphere besides all the funny things they make of it. Mm-hmm. I never knew that, Matt. It's a place that you can, you see a venue. So U2 is starting residency. The only residency I care about is Kylie Minogue. Ta-dum, I hear it. And I actually hate that song, but I like her new song Tension. But I'm a long-time Kylie fan. I saw her in Vegas last time. I saw her years ago in Vegas, when she came to town. After her, I can't get you out of my head. Love is all I think about. I've been a fan of hers since a long time. But I want to see her residency. That's it. I want to. I've seen all the big folks in Las Vegas. I've seen Garth Brooks. I've seen Shania Twain. I've seen Cher, Bette Midler. I've seen a lot of the big people there. So I've Celine Dion, Mariah Carey.
In fact, I think Cher is the only concert we've gone to in Vegas.
Oh, really? Well, she was there at 100 times. She had 10,000 union tours. So yeah, I saw her towards the end. I saw her when she was doing all the Sonny stuff after he died. Oh. She included a package of Sonny and Cher. I'm telling you, I'm sure she is.
I've only been to a few concerts in person, like I can count them on one hand. But of all the footage I've seen of concerts and stuff, no one comes close to the wardrobe change turnover time that Cher does.
Why not?
I was just floored, and especially because she was doing I can't think of the word. She was doing, I don't want to dumb it down and say greatest hits. She was covering her entire career. But yeah, as she was going through all these different eras, the costumes kept changing with the eras and stuff like that. And we're not talking about like bodysuits with some stickers on them. I mean, we're talking like gowns and beads and just, I know. And she's moving and dancing the whole time too. And it's like, I would not survive. First of all, I can't dance anyway, but it's like I wouldn't survive 5 minutes of any of her routine. Yeah. And she was just busting it out for whatever it was, 90 minutes or something. So
Yeah, I've seen her. She's good. You know, yes, I used to go. I have been at some of the Tommy's at Ramparts parties back in the day. I was explaining to somebody the other day, Speedy, that I think the original Tommy's was actually a cart that would serve, hamburgers with the chili and stuff on them, and that the one of our Ramparts one of the originals. I was trying to explain to somebody the other day. We used to go to Tommy's. We used to go to Red Onion on Normandy. That's where the black folks went for partying. We stopped through there. I used to go to Catch One, the legendary black gay club that's closed now. Jules Catch One. Max took me there all the time. That's the first time I saw black gay people, basically. It was that huge theater. Look, you go inside, and it was just like all the R&B and music, everything you wanted. It was in there. Luther Vandross and Cheryl and all that stuff. But it was good for me. It was good to see other black gay people, like see black gay folks in front of me, in a place together, because it was still very segregated back then. We used to do that, but yes, we used to cruise Hollywood Boulevard on Saturday nights. I know all that stuff. Trust me, I don't know how I did all of that. Get good grades in school, learn to be a nurse. I did everything. I did all that stuff, and somehow did it all. Somehow, I did it all. But back then, again, I was saying to Matt earlier, back then, everything was fun. Now you can't do any of that anymore. All we have is shootouts and store grabs, and it's just nothing's fun anymore in LA. It's not fun anymore. It's not funny. It's not fun anymore at all. It's dangerous out there. I'm so glad I'm not young like that anymore, because it's just too dangerous. And it's just not fun anymore. I always say, well, I've lived a lot. I feel bad for everybody like Tony and all them. They're all too young. I at your age, I was at the party and had a good time and didn't even worry. Wasn't even worried about anything. I mean, I'm sure we were worried on some level, but like, I wasn't worried about anything. I mean, I used to stumble home half dressed in San Francisco at 3 a.m. My friends we'd be in harnesses and chaps, and they just running just whatever night it was somewhere, and or cut off shorts and just running home, just cackling like two schoolgirls. And that never happened. I don't know how I lived in San Francisco 16 years, and I've never been attacked, knocked on wood, mugged, nothing. Yeah, I lucked out. I don't know. I had one friend punched in front of me at a Halloween. Because in San Francisco, Halloween is like the gay holiday. And Castro Street was huge. It was huge, at Castro Street. And one of the last Halloween, they canceled it after that. After one of the last Halloweens was straight folks coming into the Castro and purposely knocking out gay people. And my friend Todd got punched in the face right in front of me. And that's what we was like, okay, we took him to the hospital, got him out, and then they stopped it. They tried to bring it to downtown Civic Center. It just wasn't the same anymore. But I was like, but San Francisco, they knew how to do a party in San Francisco. Ooh, it was crazy. Yeah, Black Angus, Red Onion, all those were all hot spots. Yes, and Jules, they're all hot spots.
Now that I'm in my 50s, just reading that gives me heartburn. So
okay, right, exactly, right. It's like now I'm ready to go home, go to bed. But now I got to mention New York, because I did party in New York too back in the 90s. I used to go to the Tunnel. I used to go to Limelight. All that. I used to go all those. And I had older cousins. Who may the rest in peace, died in 9/11. May the rest in peace. But I would go with them when I go visit, and we go downtown, or go to Alphabet City in the city, and go to all those different places. But I remember Disco 2000 was Wednesday nights, and I see all the club kids, and partying in New York was very different. It was very different partying in LA.
James, I don't know if it was still the Limelight at the time, but I actually went there. It would have been 93, 94 maybe.
Okay.
Right in there.
That's heavy time right there. Yeah,
I know. The person that I was with at the time, he knew one of the promoters. And the funny thing is that the club kid thing was still a thing.
Yeah, it was very big right then, yes.
And the guy I was with got super dressed up, had his cute little clutch. Everything was sparkly and spiked and highlighted. And I think they threw some like glitter stuff for eyeshadow on me, and did a couple of other things. And it was funny when we got to the door, the main guy that was at the door, he's like, "Oh, you're in." And then he looks at me and he's like, "Here's a $40 ticket."
Oh my god! It's like,
Fortunately, like I said, the guy that we were with, he's like, oh, they never asked for my ticket, so here, and he gave me his, and we got in. But that was an interesting experience.
yeah, the '90s was a resurgence because AIDS started to kind of get. So I know for me, that's when we went to San Francisco. We had Pleasure Dome and Colossus. We had the Cafe. We had the Phoenix. We had all these places. They were huge. I mean, these warehouses in South of Market up there, and you just every room was like a house room, and a techno room, and this room, and that room, and
Going back to what you just said a little bit ago, could you imagine a 22-year-old Matt stumbling from the warehouse district in New York City back to NYU, all on foot, just because we were too broke to afford a cab. And it's like, I couldn't imagine doing that now
yeah,
at
we're old.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Not safe anymore either. We're not safe
No.
anymore, and we're old. I don't have it anymore. Yeah, I wanted to go to Studio 54 too. I saw so Speedy. Here's what's funny. I had my aunt go. We went by Studio 54. So I was a kid. I saw when my first trips to New York. I saw Studio 54 from the outside, and it was still popular, but we didn't go in. Obviously, I was way too young. But my dream, because my mother. Speaking of Miss Benita, back in the '70s. Her when she was married to James Lott Sr. I know that's like a whole lifetime ago. They each had a night separate from each other. He would go bowling. Probably he was fucking somebody, who knows? We found out years later. He called it bowling, sure. But my mother would go disco dancing. My father's best friend was gay. His name was Walter Wilson. He died of AIDS, may he rest in peace. He was my brother's godfather. And they would go to a place like the Odyssey. We were too young for the Odyssey. It was back in the '70s. And I watched my mother. So I thought she was so pretty. And her feathered hair, Farrah Fawcett hair, and her wraparound Diane von Furstenberg skirts, dresses. My mother was hotsy totsy, and she'd have her blue eyeshadow, and all of a sudden she was so skinny and thin, and she was me in a dress. It was great. And she always had, like, you think I have hair, she always had hair. And they would go out. I used to watch her get ready. I thought she was so beautiful. And they go out. She told me she'd go out, and years later asked her about it. She told me how she saw everything. I think back in the '70s, she saw everything. But she had a good time. She was the gay guys took care of her, and she would dance all night. And it's where I got it from. And it was one night a week. They had a separate thing, one night a week. He was allowed to, and he was okay with her because he was a gay guy. So he was, it was his best friend. So it was okay. But I haven't thought about him in a long time. I wonder how I'm sad that he didn't make it. He passed, as many of them did. He was one of the early ones in the '80s. He passed. So that's a whole other time period. But it's a lot of people from my time period who partied, they're all dead. All of them were dead. My first job at the Hollywood YMCA, which is still there on Selma, all the front desk staff is dead. I watched them all die within within months. They all just died. All vibrant young men, looking like us, young. And then like 2 weeks later, they're dead. Mm-hmm. This was the mid '80s, so it was very, oh my God, everybody was dying around me. And I was so young, I was afraid to do anything. Oh my God, I was scared to death. Scared to death.
It was interesting. I had a checkup with my doctor, and that actually came up. We were actually talking about. He was reminding me, like, oh, hey, just a reminder, if you have symptoms of COVID, we will write you a prescription of the Paxlovid or whatever the thing is or whatever. And he's been telling all his patients that. But we got further into discussion, and I was saying about, like, it's for a Gen Xer, for someone who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, I said it's been there. I've seen a lot of parallels over what the start of the AIDS crisis looked like to what it looks like today versus what the start of the COVID pandemic looked like to where we're at now. And it's just, it's so frustrating. You just want to smack people. Because it's like, if people had, well, first of all, back in the 80s, if people had spoken up and gotten listened to, it would have been a different thing. But they all got silenced or ignored or whatever. But yeah, it's just interesting that you bring that up, because it was like I just had that discussion with my doctor like a couple of days ago, and it was just interesting. He's a little younger than me, and it was interesting. It's like, yeah, you didn't. I can tell you didn't grow up during that because he's just thinking about like the stuff from the 90s on and when we actually started talking about it.
Hold that thought.
By we, I don't mean us. I mean media.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Or talk. So I gotta grab my. I'm down to 28%. Let me grab my thing. 28%. I gotta plug this. I don't want you to go out.
Sherry, Shangela is another one I would love to see in person.
Tony knows her. Thanks for Tony. Friends with her. Okay, I gotta plug that back again. Refresh my drink.
Oh wow! And I've actually, Sherry mentioned her uncle passed away from AIDS in '92, and he's part of the quilt. And I actually got to see the quilt probably sometime in the early '90s or whatever, and it's very somber.
So, okay, for me, I've seen the quilt. So here's the thing. I'm gonna get my soapbox for a second. I love it. I love it. We're venturing out of music into soapbox. So, like, I was part of ACT UP Sacramento, so I was an activist back then. So for me, because I was a nurse too back then, becoming a nurse, I was getting stuff from the medical community saying, "Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this." Yet I'm being told by the other medical community, but we didn't know anything. It was, and that's the thing that comes with this pandemic versus that time. Because the pandemic, this is my soapbox, folks. This is all thoughts are my own. And people do agree with me, but all thoughts are my own. Our generation went through 2 pandemics. So, like Matt just said, we've been through something similar. But with this one, it happened so fast. The first one, it took 7 years before Reagan even said the word AIDS. So I was out there marching and protesting and fighting and doing sex education before there was any help. It was just a gay disease. Many of us remember it was called GRID. It was the immune system for gay. It was gay related, it was this whole gay thing, gay cancer they called it. It was a gay panic. Now here's the other part. I was part of sex education also in the 90s in San Francisco. I was an activist in San Francisco in the 90s, and I did lots of. And so the problem also was within that gay community, which to me still stands today, we were not united enough because there were folks who were saying, and I understand kind of what they were saying, this is the straight folks trying to tell us we can't be free. You have to remember, in the 70s and right before AIDS, it was gay liberation. And people were living however they wanted. They were getting people elected. It was a whole big thing. Then this comes along. A lot of folks were like, I'm not going to have safe sex. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. And then I think by the mid 80s, it started to get like, we started seeing people were dropping like flies, dropping. And I think it scared a lot of folks. And if you didn't have it yet, you thought you were going to get it. I thought I was going to get it. I thought for sure I had it at some point. And remember back then, Matt, we're talking takes 2 weeks for the results to come in. Remember those? You take a test, took 2 weeks for it to come back. Those are the worst 2 weeks of my life. 2 weeks.
Well, and then you still had. I mean, even then, you still had to get retested, and then retested, and then retested, and then retested. So it's like it wasn't just taking up a few weeks; it took up the rest of your year, assuming you were not in from the point of concern.
Yes.
That you were not engaging in any risky behavior. So yeah, it just enveloped your world, and it just became the focal point of everything.
Yeah. It did. And at first, like I said, we didn't know where. We didn't know if it was airborne, it was this, it was that. There's a lot of stuff going around. Toilet seat, it was also going around. But fortunately, I didn't get it. I'm not HIV positive. I didn't get it by grace or whatever. I've never even had a STD or STI. I've been very fortunate. And I had a lot of sex, but I didn't catch anything. But I'm very fortunate. But it was such a polarizing time. But the mainstream was it was when hemophiliacs got it. Then they were still fighting. Then drug users. It was still the dregs of humanity were getting it.
That family where I think it was 3 boys and they all had transfusions, and I think the last child had just passed this past year.
Yes, and then they bring up Ryan White, another story, obviously. And that's why people like Elizabeth Taylor, people like Shirley Ralph, people like, Ricky Lake. There are folks who were early on in this struggle who are mainstream who fought for AIDS rights and fought and actually put their money where their mouth is, put their reputations where their mouth was. Madonna, sorry, you can say what you want about Madonna. Madonna put AIDS dance-a-thons. She was doing those. She always employed gay people of color. It's like there's some people you can say what you want to about them, but they put these are mainstream artists. But James Lott Jr. was on the front page of a magazine when Matthew Shepard was beaten up and killed. Me and my boy, we protested, and I was on the front page of the San Francisco magazine. We were protesting. And I went to Laramie, Wyoming, years later, and went there, and I wept like a baby. I mean, it was just like it's just sad, senseless thing that had to happen.
I was in my early 20s, estranged from my family because of being gay, and I was living in a rural area. Because I went from suburbs to rural because I went where I could find a roof. I remember the impact of that, and then of course his name being Matthew.
Oh my God, I never even thought. But that's funny.
Yeah, and it was just like that. Now, what we know of his story, it wasn't exact, but it's like I've found myself in many situations when I was in my 20s where it's like those situations easily could have turned very badly, and I was just very fortunate to not to have to experience any of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And of course, Boys Don't Cry came out 2001. There's a whole thing with that too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. But I just remember that whole time period. It was such a. I just have friends. I mean, I have a picture of 9 of us. Only 2 of us are left. I can't look at the picture. It's in my drawer. I can't even look at it anymore. It makes me too upset. And it's such a. I watched all 7 of them die. Literally saw each one of them die over the course of a year and a half. And that's something when you're young. Like I knew when I went into nursing, I knew I was going to have death. I mean, you do, and I did. But to have your friends, like we're just talking right now, and all of a sudden Matt's gone. We're just talking right now, and then Tony's gone. Like literally, my friends were just dropping. And my mentor, Tim Nolan is his name, and I always say his name because he was the first gay Black guy that I met that showed me how to carry myself in the world. He was very well liked. Everybody loved him. But he told me how many guys he slept with. He told me because it was gay liberation. He was a generation before me. And a picture of us together. I have that in a frame in my house. I always have that in a frame. But he showed me kind of how to carry myself and how to navigate. And that's why you always wonder why I'm always mentoring people. I've had some good mentors. So you always, and yes, Becky, I went to Wyoming. I actually went there. I spent all my time taking care of my uncle in and out of hospital during his battle. Oh, he was a paparazzi. How funny. Oh, he's the one who took you to Dynasty. When I first met you, Sherry, you mentioned that story about Dynasty. I remember that. You were 10 years old. I'm jealous. I'm still here too. I don't know why. We tell you the truth. I don't know why I'm still here. I was careful, but I wasn't careful every single time. Hi, Tony. I wasn't careful. You have to come on in a serious moment, Tony. We were talking about music earlier. That's about AIDS, the AIDS movement. But it was, like I said, my brother's godfather died, and then we had a couple uncles die, and then I had a couple of cousins die, and then, like I said, I'm telling you, the whole front desk staff at the Hollywood YMCA in the 80s, all of them died. There was like 10 of them that rotated, during the week, and all of them are dead. All of them. Now, I saw the quilt came when I lived in Sacramento. The quilt came to Sacramento, to the Capitol. They had pieces of it because they didn't have it all. It was this Capitol's just not big enough. They had pieces of it throughout inside the Capitol. They had pieces of it strewn across the walls. And they had some on the lawn. So I don't know how much of it was out. It was a lot. I mean, it took us a long time to see it. Oh, I wept while I was looking at the thing, just cried senselessly. The only other time I cried that hard about history, my same friend and I, my ex-friend Nick, he's white, and of course I'm Black. We were in Atlanta. We went to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park. It's very well kept and very well done in Atlanta. First at the church where he would speak at, across the street, and then you go to the park. And they show, I mean, comprehensive history of his struggle inside this museum. And when they showed a replica of the cell that he was put in a couple of times, when they showed dogs attacking him and stuff like that, I wept. I just wept. This is so, you know, I wasn't born yet. I was born during the civil rights movement. I wasn't born yet, but to see what they went through. So that's the only time I did that. But yeah, the quilt was kind of like, it was on pieces on the wall. But again, I don't know how much of it was there, because I know the quilt was huge. Unfortunately, it was huge. But they had some on the lawn, and they had him on the wall. So we went and saw it. I cried the whole time. I just cry the whole time. But it's a great tribute. It's a great way of remembering people, I think. And I can't sew or do quilts, so I didn't even try. But I gave lots of money. I protested. I did a lot of things. And also, like I said, when I was nursing, I tried to give care to people. Some of my friends who were dying, I was there for them in their last moments. You know, I would make it comfortable. So yeah, it's something that's so you try to do the AIDS walk. I mean, it's funny, the AIDS walk. I did a few of those. But for me, it was the AIDS dance-a-thons. I did those, of course. I was a bouncy gay person back in the 90s. We do those. I remember one where I was dancing near Madonna, and I was so nervous. I didn't get to meet her. And all kinds of stuff. So yeah, so I think for me, living in San Francisco in the 90s, I got there in 93. So the first AZT drugs were first coming out. Because I used to go there in the 80s, and it was so sad to go there. Oh my God. My first gay pride parade ever was in San Francisco in 88. And it was not a celebration. It was a celebration. It wasn't like it was later. It was very somber. I saw Sylvester before he died. I was a huge fan of Sylvester's, and he was in a wheelchair. AIDS had just ravaged his body, but he smiled, and we waved at him and everything. And it was like coming together. We got to come together. But then in the 90s, it was like, it's a party. I mean, and we had a good time. I mean, I was spreading things during that time period too. I had a good time. And the gay, you know, and the Pride Parade back then was the third largest event in California, behind the Rose Bowl and Rose Parade and something else. There's like two things that were bigger, and it was the third largest event period in California. So yes, James, you're still spreading information that helps. Thank you. Yes.
Not to spiral into another conversation, because I don't want to spend time on it, but that's what you were just saying. It's like, you know, those celebrations, like the Pride event and stuff. That's one of the things that I want to like shake my cane at the kids on my lawn when I hear younger generations like it without hesitation, like the last week of May, and I'm seeing all these posts online about pink dollars and corporate, and I just want to punch them just in the throat, because it's like, we appreciated being able to call up AT&T and get a rainbow phone cord, because they were one of 3 companies at the time. Subaru was another one. That were like, you know, we recognize you, we see you. I wasn't paying anything for that stupid phone cord. They were paying for it. But there were, and Miller beer was a big sponsor of Pride events and stuff like that. Now, yes, there are a lot of companies that try to take advantage of that every year and stuff, whatever. I don't care. But it's what I get frustrated is like the importance of honoring the history, of remembering that there was a time where a company that was making millions, which would now be billions of dollars, were too afraid to say, you know, we recognize you. And so anyway, I just the for me the importance of pride isn't about the partying. It's about remembering the history.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. I'm going to throw this at you because I've
Okay.
said it to myself out loud. I've said it to all of us. First of all, yeah, Tony, I've been on for almost 2 hours now. I'm looking at it going, it's been 2 hours. Wow. I'm actually heading into, for me, almost after dark territory. It's 10:15 for me. But no, this is what I'm saying out loud to all of us, Matt. Is that part of the catch-22? Because we did all of that so they didn't have to go through it. And we went through all of that so they can have choice. My joke that I always said when marriage equality was happening is I said I never want to get married. I always said I want the choice to not get married. Anybody who heard me, but see, I would say that, people would hear it wrong. I go, you have to understand, listen to what I'm saying, folks. Not you, Matt, I know you get it. But I'm saying, folks at home, when I say I want the choice because I had no choice before, period. So I'm voting. I said, I wasn't voting so I could get married. And I was like, oh, fuck marriage. But my whole thing was kind of like, I'm voting so we can all have the choice, the basic choice to say, nah, it's not for me. But no, I want to, because everybody else gets to do it willy-nilly. My father's been married 6 times. I mean, he gets to do whatever the fuck he wants. So why can't two people who actually love each other and want that to be their next step? Again, I don't even start on me. I think marriage is dumb. I couldn't imagine. But that's another story. But I completely was like, that's because for me, I had other issues. I thought were more important to me at the time. But then I realized it's all important back then. We're talking, what, 10, 15 years ago. Like, it's all important. So it doesn't matter. I may be working on equal gay rights and job and employment. And I was working on other stuff that was more important to me. But I can still support this and still go, okay, here's my reasoning. I may not be for marriage, but you have to have the option. So I feel like the younger kids today, because I get a little pissy when they try to, you guys didn't do enough. You know, I know Speedy, it goes by so fast. I've been on 2 hours. I can't believe I've been on 2 hours. And I'm in a weird time zone. So probably I'm like, what's going on? This is crazy. But that's kind of catch-22, Matt, is that they should be able to prance around and kind of be like, but we don't want them to forget it either. I know how you feel. Like I know exactly how you feel. Like it's that weird. We're old men now, so we talk like old men. That's how we sound like. It's like you young whippersnappers have no idea what we went through. It's totally what it is. But part of me goes, that's kind of the point, right? See, the thing, Matt, that's kind of crazy. I come from the last generation before us, where I was like, why conform to hetero norms? I like the whole thing that being gay means you could be different. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can make your own rules up. That's right. But then I started seeing the practical stuff that comes with that. Therefore, if you get sick, there's practical, you have legal, I see there's other reasons to get married. I get it. No,
yeah, just the partners, whether they were together for a month or 25 years, that were being denied access to their loved one.
Yes.
Back in the 80s and the early 90s, because they didn't have a little slip of paper that said that this is my legally acknowledged companion in life, and that was a huge factor for me, wanting to have the option to get married. The interesting thing is that one of the things they don't tell you when you're younger, at least in our generation, is that it actually can be more expensive to file as a married couple than to file separately. Yeah. And the joke is called the marriage tax. But it has simplified our tax filings. But yeah, the big thing is that, like, Scott and I have talked about, it's like, this is what I want and this is what I want, when the time comes and I need someone to confirm that this is what I want. We've talked about those things. And there's a couple things that I've told him, I'm like, please put it in writing, because I know that, if something happens to him and I have to make the decision, it's still going to be difficult to make the decision. So it's like if it's in writing, then it's like at least there's that. But again, having the privilege of being able to do that we hadn't had for so long,
I know.
that was what was important.
That's the thing. It's a catch-22 because I like you. I want to punch folks in the throat all the time. I want to punch folks in the throat anyway because they get on my nerves. But I hear the young ones, young Black folks or young gay folks, they whine at us, and you guys thought and it's like, no, we did what we could do.
Yeah.
Hi, Caleb. We did what we could do, and like Becky said, they were actively doing things to keep partners apart. They were actively keeping fathers and sons. The one father who's biological come in, but the other one can't, if they're not actually married. I guess it was all this. I've learned as I gotten older, everything's being writing. I watched enough People's Court. Everything's being writing. You have to have everything set up.
From Judge Wapner to Judge Judy.
Exactly. But back in the day, when you didn't have those choices, you say couples were together 40, 50 years, and when people were dying of AIDS, they couldn't, the family would swoop in. This strange family who didn't talk to you for 40 years comes in, well, we're next of kin. Legally, we're next of kin. We're taking your house, taking everything, it's yours. You're like, huh, what?
Yeah. Just as recently with oh gosh, why am I should her name should be ingrained in my head. Sally Ride's wife.
Sally Ride's wife?
Yeah. It was a big part of the marriage.
I don't know the names.
But anyway, but yeah, it's like even as recently as the 2000s, up to 2010s or whatever, and that was still an issue where it's like these women were together for decades, and it was still argued, oh well, because you don't have the marriage license and all the appropriate forms, that the family can just come in and do whatever they want.
Well, I luckily just went through that. I was just like, unluckily just went through that, but luckily went through it this year with my stepdad, my mother, my aunt, my other aunt. I had to go through that because we had to go through all the legal stuff. I was in charge of all that stuff, So I had to look at papers and what did they have in writing, and can his kids just come in and take the house from my mother? And luckily now everything is to me because there's a lot of stuff, and so I had to look at all of that, and so I know for a fact that I'm trying to get my shit in order. So for my kids and grandkids, and I always say it's most important for you to add in there who you don't want to have stuff, more so than who you want to have stuff. They say there's a lot of lawyers will tell you, you have to make sure you specify who can't.
Yeah, leaving people out of a trust or a will leaves it open for argument that, oh, they were forgotten.
If you say these folks and name them do not get blah 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 blah. So I think that's very, very, very important.
By the way, before I forget, back to the whole throat punching thing. I see like dozens of reels on Instagram a day that I want to forward to you, and I'm like, I'm not doing that because you already get overloaded with crap.
I get so many all the time.
But I did see one earlier today, and it was a Taurus thing.
Yes.
And it was like, I'm sorry for the accurate things I said that hurt your feelings.
Yeah, I've been sharing those on my page. Tam Elizabeth O'Shaughnessy is the name, Sherry says, of the woman.
Okay.
Yes, it's a lot, and that's the thing. You may only have little bits. Because I've had caregiver Zooms, and Tony's been on one of a couple of them. We've talked about that kind of stuff, just like who's in charge of stuff, who gets what, who takes. Because you could be in there taking care of somebody, the rest of the family doesn't do shit, and all of a sudden, home person dies, and all of a sudden they come in. Well, I want my piece of the pie, and you're like, you didn't do nothing. I was here the whole time. And I always said for a lot of folks I've seen where they moved in with the person, lived there for years, gave them the whole time, and then suddenly they're like, you can't have the house. I say, no, they deserve the house. They deserve whatever. They deserve to live there. They deserve whatever they want, because to me, they did God's work. As I know now, caregiving is not easy. It is not something. There's days when it feels easy, but there's days when it's not. It's not. So Tony just like your throat punch comment. Yes. Yes, I'm wearing Flobo shirts. I'm wearing a Flobo shirt today. I forgot I packed it, and I'm wearing it, of course. And I'm totally trying to add some levity to the situation. I'm sorry, we're talking about a serious subject, Tony. Right now, I'm sorry. I know you come to me. I know you come to me for laughs, but I'm sorry. Right now, we
went from Broadway to
my
to
hotel
music,
room, to Broadway,
and to now we're onto this.
There's quality. Just I'm sorry, we're hitting the gamut today. Sorry, but not sorry, but you know what I mean. I'm just like in the gamut stage. But yeah, it's but no, I think, and that's why that's why I have this show. That's why I'm having these shows. I like these shows. We just talk about anything. And a lot of my Zooms are this way too. So I should do my little station identification. Matt will kill me if I don't. So this is JLJ Media. If you're not subscribe now. I'm trying to get to 4,000 followers. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I already have 1 million views. So thank you very much over that. Thank you very much. Got that going. So subscribe. If you've not subscribed yet, subscribe to my channel. I'm not going to make it into a subscription service or a separate members thing. I know they offer that option, but I already have that in Patreon. Patreon.com/JLJ. You can join me over there. I'm posting all kinds of content on there, especially about my trip. I'm posting all the pictures right now. I'll be posting videos when I get back, things like that. So I'm doing that. And hi, Kayla. And then also, you can also donate to the channel or donate to me, my K Vacation Fund. I take Snapchat. I take Zelle. I take PayPal. You know, I get a little things you get from you. If you're there, you get a little sticker. What I do? I have PayPal, CashAPP, Snap. I used to say Snapchat. October, Venmo, and I have Zelle. My Zelle is working, so that's all that. So you can give to any amounts, any of those, or pay for the Zooms that are coming up this month or next month. Also, there is Super Chat. There's a little button underneath here. It's a $, and that goes into my Super Chat, which I get the 22nd of every month. So if you donate to that, I'll get that this month. I'll get that next week sometime. Also, if you're watching this later, it's the same thing underneath. It's called Super Thanks. And a few of you have given me Super Thanks the other night, so thank you. Again, I'll get that. The other stuff I get now while I'm on vacation. The other stuff I'll get next week. So you have several choices to support the channel and support me. I'm here in Kansas City. It's raining right now. I'm very happy. It's raining outside. I'm in a climate controlled place. And Kayla, thank you, Kayla, for your donation. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you. You're wonderful as always. Kayla always has nice things to say to me, so you should. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the Patreon. So take this down, Becky, and then you can join. I have a one for $1 a month. You want to, and you get lots of you have tell Matt, I'm gonna get something.
Okay, so multiple tiers. I started over a year ago. I was I feel like we're doing a telethon again.
A telethon again. I love it.
So over a year ago, I joined James's Patreon at the $5 level and loved it. Unfortunately, I made some life decisions and my income changed drastically. So I did just recently change to the $1 tier. I am still trying to keep up with the amount of content that James puts out. So don't think that it's like, okay, if I'll join for $1 a month, it's $12 a year. It's no big deal. And I'm never going to see anything. No, you're going to get multiple notifications almost daily from James.
Mm-hmm.
And I did want to mention to you, James, a couple of the New Mexico and one of the other ones. It was a group of photos. When I clicked on the link, it came up as a 404. So,
yeah, I know it's good. I'm having issues with that.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, it's like just this evening, I had like four different post notifications, and I'm on the $1 level. Mm-hmm. So now you don't get one of these fancy things until you get to the $5 level.
Yes.
And there's a reason why it's still in the plastic, because it's mint in box. So, but anyway, there's additional perks for each tier that you go up, including, James, I think the 20 is that where you get the monthly Zoom?
Your monthly Zoom, but you also get t-shirts.
Yeah.
You get those t-shirts. So you get a t-shirt, all kinds of stuff. There's all kind of goodies. It's after 3 months you've been there. If you haven't gotten a 20 tier, I don't really watch anything watch anything else. Doesn't watch anything else. I know. Okay, here's the deal. I post a lot everywhere. I know I do. If you're a Lottie, I say God bless you, because I post a lot on YouTube. I post a lot on Instagram. I post a lot on TikTok. I post a lot. I know I do. LOTTTTT. I know I do. So I appreciate all of you checking shit out, because I do. I love this business. It's what I do for a living. Yes, Matt?
I was just gonna say, occasionally there is some overlap of what you share publicly versus what you share on Patreon, but occasionally, most of what I've seen on Patreon, you might talk about, but you're not necessarily posting that publicly. So that's another thing. It's like,
let me explain. Oh yeah, you get mugs too. So you get mugs also.
Okay.
She has 2 mugs. I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. I forgot you get mugs also from me. If you haven't received anything, just let me know. I'll work that out. Okay. Here's the deal. Sometimes I have audio only material.
Mm-hmm.
I will post the video versions on my Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
I post all bloopers and behind the scenes stuff on Patreon. Most of my 5 questions I do on Patreon, a lot of times first sometimes, and maybe way later. Now, here's something for you guys, and Sherry knows this. 2 days ago, I just released 3 Terraria-based videos that were only on Patreon for last year. See, a year later, I released them, and now I'm seeing they're getting big. So Matt is a bad influence. I stopped checking email lists from James' Patreon, and it's a lot of info for what he is charging. A lot. Yes, Kayla, you're great.
Well, there have even been a few times where it's like, I've seen the content from Patreon, and I'm like, oh, I got to share this, and it's like, it's not public.
Yeah, it's not public. You can't. What's funny is my colleagues are telling me, because I have 27 Patreoners, so I'm being told that's a lot compared to my friends. We have 5 or 10 or 11. I had over 30 at one point. So I'm trying to get back up there again, get back to 30. But I take my 27. I take you guys very much seriously. I try to give you what I can. I do things for the 20 tier. I do things for the $10 tier. I do things for the 5 and the 1. But all the $1 folks, you get everything from last year. So I didn't lock all that stuff up. I said, well, just for now, you can go back in time, because that stuff's been posted. It's out there. But the more you get. Because one person went up and she's like, I didn't know I was missing stuff. I go, no, I said every tier you get more stuff. So there's some things I do just for certain tiers also. Share certain pictures, things like that. So yeah, not everybody.
I feel like the phone should be ringing right now with someone calling in with a pledge.
I know. Well, Kayla's on here. So thank you, Kayla. That will work. I will use Kayla's on there. So very good. Earlier, my sister gave earlier this morning. Tracy Stevens gave earlier this morning, and so did Films 55555. So they gave earlier today. So thank you guys. You guys so far earlier gave. But I got to make sure I mention that, because it's over 2 hours now, so I have to mention that. It's if I could, it's only been on 2 hours. It was 10:31 my time. Oh my god, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm seriously going into after dark territory. I think I'm glad you enjoyed it and everything. And Kayla, they also have what you call it out here, my Dutch Brothers coffee. So my plan is to go to Dutch Brothers out here and get my coffee. I'm very excited. We don't have one in LA. To do a telethon pledge. Well, I did the where is it at right now? Because I did a 9-hour and 18-minute show, and I want to see, and the numbers were so good, I was shocked. I want to see the numbers right now. I'm gonna go with the numbers.
You talk about your viewer numbers?
Yes. Like, who's fucking watching it? People are telling me they put it on in the background and listen to it. So live, okay. So my fundraiser is at 410 views. That is crazy. Streamed 5 days ago. That's right. Did it just 5 days ago. That is crazy.
Maybe people are using it for their bedtime.
They told me to pay on and
what is it?
Yes. For 22, you get a 30-minute Zoom with me each month. You get a free Zoom of your choice. Get all kind of goodies.
Mm.
All kind of goodies.
I want to stress how valuable those one-on-ones are, because I've been fortunate enough to have at least one with James, and it's open to whatever you want to talk about. But that is a huge value on that tier. And like I said, I feel cheesy because it does sound like an 80s telethon.
Yeah, I love it.
But no, but totally seriously,
different.
It's just it's a great value for what you're getting, not just the the posts and the few videos and the pictures and stuff like that, but just to have that one-on-one time that frequently is just amazing. And it's like, if you want to talk about your favorite music, your favorite pasta sauce, your favorite writer, whatever, or tips to get into writing, or tips to organizing or anything, but that one-on-one experience, that is so great.
Good time. You talked to me one. Yellowstone has a line of coffee. Did not know that. Check that out, Beauty. Let's check that. Yes, Speedy. So, Speedy, you are an example of why I should do these shows, because the other night, both shows I did, people who can't be in the mornings with me are here with me at night. I'm seeing you guys are on here longer. A lot of you guys are busy during daytime. So you guys work, you have things to do. And so I'm reaching a slightly different audience when I come on at nighttime. I had no idea. And both shows I did, I was like, that's a trip. So I met some new people who were like, I follow you because I watched this one. I'm like, who are you? Oh, who are you? And so it's a trip. So I'm seeing this is another way for me to reach out to the fans and talk to the fans who can't come during the daytime or at lunch. Not everybody can turn on their stuff while at work. I mean, I used to have a job where I could, but everybody can't. Everybody's jobs are different. And then I'm noticing for you guys who are up late at night, Matt, this is a chance for you to kind of have something to do while you're up late at night, if you're not watching TV. So I think this is actually very cool. Like I said, the first two shows I did were successful. I think they were successful. And I am releasing them also on audio. So if you just want to listen to the audio of this, you can. They're both available. I got them approved on all the streaming services. So just Apple, Google, Spotify, JLJ After Dark, and JLJ This Evening are both audio too. So I know some of you guys are starting to listen to JLJ this morning on audio. I see the numbers are going up on that. So it's good. I'll never stop. The morning show is my bread and butter. I will never stop doing the morning show. That's my show. I like drinking my coffee, hair crazy. That's what I do. But these night ones are, Matt, they're really interesting. They're really interesting to me. It's just like new one. That's very cool. I don't know. James talks about everything. I do. I talk about anything you want to talk about, folks. And you got, and I love that this is a space where, and I say with the Zooms, you can come and go away, come back. Is Matt a night owl? Tony wants to know.
Yes, though I shouldn't be anymore, because I recently started doing CPAP, and it found out it works better for me if I would have been in bed 30 minutes ago. Oops. But even when I was a teenager, it's like I had more fun being on the computer, reading things, or whether it was book or online or whatever. I just enjoyed it more later at night than I did during the day. During the day was when I have to deal with people, whereas at night I could still deal with people, but I don't know. I just found it more entertaining, and more relaxing. So yeah, I always have been a night owl. Though again, as we advance in years, it gets a little more difficult. So for me, night owl means maybe till 2 a.m. Maybe. Once we start passing that, then it's like, I'm gonna fall out of this chair if I don't go to bed. So,
well, Sherry just called you out and said, yeah, he was on when it was 3. When I did my After Dark, you were on at 3 a.m. Well, yes, he was on here.
That's you. again, that's probably because my CPAP mask was leaking and it was blowing air into my eye, and I was frustrated, so I hopped onto Instagram while I was laying in bed.
So
So
it was leaking.
yeah,
Tony,
there's nothing more entertaining than feeling like you're getting some restful sleep and then a stream of air is just blowing up into your face.
Tony,
So
Tony, what are you? Because you take care of your mom and stuff. Are you more alive at night or during daytime? Somebody just likes my thing on Patreon. Funny. Sure, I already feel like I'm fangirl stalking vibes. 30 minutes will make James lose his mind because I will do all the talking. Oh, no, Kayla, you can. And also, here's something I tell you guys. So, and some folks have taken advantage of this. If you only get a half hour with me free for the Zoom, you can pay for another half hour. You just pay a difference. You just like give a little discount. You pay the difference. So like normally meet with me, it's like 60, 70 minutes. No, it's like, no, to meet with me, it's 70 minutes to meet with me for an hour. I'll give you a discount. Same thing if you want me for an hour and a half. I just might be meeting for an hour and a half. I don't care. We talk about anything. We talk about anything you want. I'm here for you guys. So I just it's totally up to you guys. I always say yes, but 30 minutes goes by fast. As you can tell, 30 minutes goes by fast. And so I've had several people go, I want more time. Like, I'm here for you guys. I'm here for the fans. So, and some folks have asked me advice on things, business stuff, and I'm like, I'm here for all that kind of stuff. So yes, so Kayla, if you ever want to, you can always, somebody's liking my stuff on Patreon right now. It's so funny. As we speak about it. We'll take you anywhere we can get you, Matt. That's funny. Aww.
what I'm sorry, what?
Sherry said, we'll take you anywhere we can get you, Matt.
Oh.
Becky D said, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just reading. Becky was saying she can't dictate your natural body clock. I sure hope the CPAP works for you. Mine lasted 2 weeks. Had to go back. That's honestly, I think I have a secondhand device because you can get the information. The current ones, you can get the information off the device if you use like an SD card, and there's data on the device for about a month prior to when I started. It doesn't show most of the data, but it does show like the apneas and stuff. And it's like, I didn't start using the device until a month after that. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, it's, of course, the doctors are going to say, oh, if you want to be normal, then you're going to bed at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night and you're getting up at 6, 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's just the healthiest way to live. And it's like, no, I try to listen to what my body tells me, especially now that I'm not punching a clock like I was before. But that also means that I really need to listen, and it's like middle of the day, I might need to take a nap that I didn't need to take before. So but yeah, it's working for me so far. It's been difficult, but it's getting there. It's so glamorous. It is so wonderful to walk into the room and see your partner with this headgear on and a hose and it's not as sexy as Darth Vader. So anyway.
Yeah, my mother wears one. Hi Meek, how are you? Tony says, both as long as I'm awake and not tired. Yeah, I know that's the key. I mean,
yeah,
you're a full-time caregiver, so I get that. So it's like it's just depends. I know for me, some nights wide awake, some nights mornings wide awake, some mornings, I mean, it just depends. I agree with you on that. So Sherry, I just gave you an answer for that question. Meek, how you doing? I have a dream mask, which I'm loving better. I call it my CPAP Bay.
I have the dream mask, but it's the one that goes like here. So it doesn't go over the nose, it goes here.
Oh, it goes there. Oh, okay.
So
I'm
sorry, I'm a mouth breather.
I sleep with none of that stuff. I sleep. I have no problem. I've been tested. I was fine, I guess. I don't know. I'm like, but I'm fat. Why am I not having this?
And again, the appointment I just had yesterday with my doctor, and he's like, it's really interesting to see the results come back from these sleep studies. And he's like, a lot of times it has nothing. Now I actually have central apnea, which is the scarier one. That's got nothing to do with this and all that. That's actually a signal issue. But anyway, it's like, yeah, you'd be surprised the number of people that it's got nothing to do with their weight or, whatever, or their age. It's just, again, sometimes there's a neurological issue. But yeah, I'm glad I did. I should have done it years ago, and I'm glad I did it because I didn't realize it was as a dad as it was. For more than, I don't know the exact numbers, but for each hour, for a majority of the hour, there were episodes where I wasn't breathing.
Dang.
Imagine trying to hold your breath, just like you're sitting right here now. Just hold your breath, and find out after close to a minute, sometimes before that, how uncomfortable increasingly it gets. And my body was doing that on its own 40 times an hour. And it's just it was so I'm glad I got it checked out. I'm glad I got it done. I'm glad I was fortunate enough to have insurance that paid for part of it. But anyway, so I joke about it, but I'm thankful for it. So.
I wish I could sleep full 8 hours. I can sleep standing up. It doesn't matter to me. I can sleep, like a horse. It doesn't matter to me.
My dad is like that. My dad could fall asleep laying on top of a fire hydrant, like whatever. Think of the most uncomfortable position. It's like he'll still fall asleep. And I'm like, why didn't I not? I look like him. My sense of humor is like him, but I did not get that from him. And it's like of all the other things I inherited, I wish I could have done that. I gotten that.
My whole family has problems sleeping except for me. I don't know. If I get off of here, I can roll over and go sleep right now. I mean, like Tony Moore always laughs because he knows me when we talk at nighttime. He's like, Jay, you're about to roll over and turn left. He goes, yes, I am. Off the phone. Talk to you later. Bye. And I'm out. I mean, I don't have problems like that.
I'll be right back.
Knock on wood, I don't have problems like that. I'll be right back. So I could have been on over 2 hours, you guys. Now if I was in LA, it would be 8:45. It's still a good time. It's 10:45 where I'm at. So now we're dealing into JLJ after dark territory. So here's the question. Should I now end this program and restart as JLJ after dark? Let me know in the chat. I'm not gonna do a poll. I'm just gonna because only a few of you here. Should I do that? Do a different show and change it? And maybe I'll change the lighting. I don't know. Should I change it to JLJ after dark? Because now it's late for me. Yes or no? I'll just keep doing the show and just keep it until then I'll end it at some point. I was gonna do I really did not know I was gonna do 2 hours. I really just thought I'll come on for maybe an hour and talk to you guys. And it goes by so fast. These notifications. It's funny getting notifications at 10:46 at night. It would be 8:46 when I'm at. It's so weird. So let me know. I'm relaxed. I'm enjoying that. Because I might break out the wine for the other one. I got a why not? Okay. Got one why not. There are 11 of you guys watching. I should tell you because now it's late for me. I can do the JLJ this morning, but I'll break out the wine this time for that show. I don't have any alcohol to do shots like I was doing the other night. I guess I got the wine, do shots of wine. I guess I don't know. Just in JLJ rings, right? So I got a Kayla. I'm assuming that's possibly okay, possibly maybe. I guess what I'll do. So this show is long enough for people to listen to it and watch it. So I'll do that. Where's all my stuff? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, make a poll. No, I'm going to get off. Okay, So we get a smooch in. Get a smooch in, Matt. I'm going to come back as JLJ after dark. Okay, I'm gonna go in it now. You guys, thank you so much. And if you're listening to this at home.